commendation and recognition. Anybody got anything? Okay, I'm gonna read this into the minutes. The Board of Commission of Hawkins County, Tennessee, Jim Lee, County Mayor, the reappointment of Joe Payne as Commissioner of the Lakeview Utility District of Hawkins County, Tennessee for the term commencing December 2018 and ending midnight of the last day in December the 19th, 2022. Order, whereas the Commissioner of the Lakeview Utility District of Hawkins County, Tennessee have under the seal of said Board of Commissioners certified list of 3 nominees in order to prefer to fill the office of Commissioner of the Lakeview Utility of Hawkins County, Tennessee for a term commence December 20, 2018, expiring at midnight on the last day, December 19, 2022. Me, Jim Lee, County Mayor of Hawkins County, Tennessee, as required by TCA Code 7-82-307. Now therefore, I, Jim Lee, County Mayor of Hawkins County, Tennessee, do hereby order and reappoint Joe Payne as Commissioner of the Lakeview Utility District of Hawkins County, Tennessee for the term of office concerning December 20, 2018, expiring at midnight on the last day, December 19, 2022, with all the rights, duties, and obligations pertain thereto. This, the 27th day of November 2018.
I would just like to commend Cherokee High School and NJROTC for collecting over 10,000s for Wreaths Across America and going up to the mountain home and putting those on the grave sites up there. Very proud of them. They worked very hard in the community and just very proud that they did that, and quite a feat to raise $10,000 in a community like ours. So thank them.
Any more commendations, recognitions? If not, I'll take a motion to approve the minutes.
Make a motion.
Motion by Commissioner Field, second by Commissioner Jesse. Any discussion? If not, everybody cast your vote.
She is saying yes.
Yes, you is.
There we go.
We now have 20 commissioners present.
Motion passed. Okay. Resolution 2018-12-01, introduced by Commissioner Martin.
Okay, before I read this, there's a couple corrections on here. On the dates, it should read January 1st, 2019, and it's a 6-year term, so it should read December 31st, 2025. And that's in the end of the last sentence on both paragraphs there. And with that correction being made, then I'll read the resolution. To the Honorable Michael Harrell, Chairman and Member of the Hawkins County Board of Commission in regular session of the 17th day of December 2018. Resolution in reference reappointment of Tony Birchfield, Danny Cochran, Larry Elkins, Terry Glass, and Tommy Young to the Hawkins County Industrial Board for the 6-year term each. Whereas the Industrial Committee met on October the 25th, 2018, and voted unanimously to recommend the following persons to be reappointed to the Hawkins County Industrial Board for a 6-year term beginning January the 1st, 2019, and ending December 31st, 2025. Tony Birchfield, Terry Glass, Danny Cochran, Tommy Young, and Ray Elkins. Therefore, be it resolved that the aforementioned members be reappointed to the Hawkins County Industrial Board with terms of office being 6 years, beginning January 1st, 2019, and ending December 31st, 2025. I so move.
Motion by Commissioner Barker, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Davis. Any discussion? Go ahead, Commissioner Barrett.
Well, sure, if I can get the button quick enough. Mr. Tommy Young serves on my board of directors at the gas company. So for me to avoid a direct conflict of interest, I will be abstaining on the vote for this issue. And I just wanted to make that public.
Okay, Commissioner, Brickwell.
Yes, in lieu of the fact that there are a lot of things going on in the area, along at the Tri-State Airport and the new aero thing going in at the airport, and the other counties that are involved, I understand that there's a lot of opportunities, and I would request that we, before we give a 6-year extension, that we think about this a little bit. I know there's opportunities been expressed to us that we could be handed to Hawkins County, but we need to get appropriate people together to do that along with the mayor, to look into that. So I would ask to table this until we get such time that we can get together and see what kind of parameters we might be looking at for the future.
Okay, we got a motion to table this resolution, do I have a second? Second by Commissioner Trent.
Yeah, Rick had his butt looked.
Ain't no discussion on the motion. We'll have to vote then. Cast your votes.
Yes to the table, no not to.
Remember on the new voting system, you did not have to hit confirm. Just hit yes or no.
10 yes, 10 no, 1 abstain.
Failed.
Motion failed. Back to the original resolution. Any discussion? Any more discussion? Mr. Bird, you still want to?
I'll say this, I mean, I don't know why, I mean, it may be a reason, but 6 years is a long term to have somebody sitting on the board. I mean, I don't know why we couldn't go back and do it more often, why we have to appoint them to a 6-year term. And, you know, Mr. Bridwell had some concerns. I don't know if he wanted to share more what his concerns was or not before we vote. but, you know, if we don't vote to do this tonight, we can bring it back next month, right?
Yes.
Before we do anything else, I'm gonna let Commissioner Metz read a policy here.
Well, I'll just be brief. TCA code says that it has to be a 6-year term. Initially, they're staggered terms when you first create the district. After that, it is by law 6-year term.
So all of them comes off at the same time?
And that's up their staggered terms. When they initially set it up, they were actually set up with terms of 2, 4, and 6 years. And I'll read it. Directors with terms of 2, 4, and 6 years to create staggered terms at the initial onset of the creation of the Industrial Development Board.
If I'm not out of order, may I ask how many is on that board?
17? 17.
Is the county commissioners on it also, some county commissioners, is that?
No, they aren't. You cannot be by state law, cannot be. And also, this is a non-compensated term. By state law, they cannot receive any form of compensation.
Well, I know in the past, I've not been on the industrial board committee, but some of them shared with me that they didn't know when the industrial board met most of the time, them on the industrial board committee. Is that a fact, or is that, is the notices sent out when they meet, or?
The industrial board committee has not had it because we haven't figured out, if the bylaws, if we're actually meeting with their board or we're doing a separate board, and we're trying to find out to make sure.
But it is publicly sunshine.
Yes.
Yes, just like every other meeting.
And if you'd like to attend the industrial board meeting, if you'll give them their email, they'll be more than glad to invite you to it. I mean, I attend all their meetings. Yeah.
I think you represent us very well, Nancy.
Commissioner Fields.
My question was what John answered about TCA, I just wanted to know what the law said. Thank you.
Any more discussion? If not, cast your vote.
Yes, 3 no, 2 abstain.
Motion passed. Resolution 2018-1202, introduced by Commissioner Thacker.
The Honorable Michael Rail, Chairman and members of the Hawkins County Board of Commissioners, regular session met this 17th day of December 2018. Resolution reference to committee appointment change for our Board and Education Committees. Whereas the resolution number 2018-10-08, committee appointments of the Hawkins County, Tennessee was approved. This resolution includes our Board and Education Committee. Whereas the following changes were being made, the Our Board and Education Committee, Danny Ellis is being moved from the Airport Committee to the Education Committee. Charles House Rucker is being moved from the Education Committee to the Airport Committee. Therefore, be it resolved that the aforementioned committee member change be approved. I so move, Mr. Chairman.
Motion by Commissioner Thacker. Do I have a second? Second by Commissioner Gibson. Any discussion? Commissioner Goins.
Okay, my only issue with this is, we were told what committees we would be on in the beginning, and Commissioner Speaks abstained from the committee that she was appointed to because she felt that she had a conflict. So I feel like if we go around switching people on committees, this could open a whole new can of worms, and we could end up just having a big mess. That's my concern with the situation. I feel like if these guys didn't want to serve on these particular committees, they should have made it known at the time that these committee appointments were made. Thanks.
Any more discussion? If not, cast your vote.
19 yes, 2 no.
Motion passes. Resolution 2018-1203, introduced by Commissioner Field.
To the Honorable Michael Harrell, Chairman and members of Hawkins County Board of Commission, a regular session met the 17th day of December 2018. Resolution in reference approval of naming two unnamed county roads, Edgar Trent Road and Wallace Road. Whereas it has come to the attention of Hawkins County Highway Department in recent months that two county roads were never named after the right-of-way deeds were recorded, and whereas at November 15, 2018, Road Committee meeting, Mr. Lowe Bain, Highway Superintendent, presented the right-of-way deeds for the aforementioned roads. The committee is recommending that the roads be named as listed below. The right-of-way deed recording information is also listed. Edgar Trent Road, off Buzzards Roost Road, recording in deed book number 171, page 234, dated August 24th, 1970, between Hawkins County, Tennessee, and Edgar Trent, and wife Judy and Harry Robbie. Number 2, Wallace Road, off Kite Road, recorded in deed book 176, page 144, dated December 5th, 1969, between Hawkins County, Tennessee, and Monroe Simmons, and wife Eva and Charles Wallace, and wife Willie. Therefore, be resolved that the aforementioned road names be approved and added to the road list of Hawkins County. Mr. Chairman, I so move.
Motion by Commissioner Field, second by Commissioner Thacker. Any question? Commissioner Barron.
Yes, the question I've got is the room at the end of these roads for a school bus to turn around in them? Because if I understand the resolution correctly, I don't think they're actually official roads until they're approved on the actual road list. So I'm curious if there's enough rooms for a school bus to turn at the end of it.
Well, that was the law union. The reason we need to put them on the road list, I mean, well, they gotta be approved to be put on the road list first. Was that what she was asking? Why that they're going on the road?
No, I wanted to know if there's room for a school bus to turn around at the end of the road.
Commissioner Talley, you do it under looked at that day?
Yeah, but I can't honestly say that there is or ain't, but I'm about 100% sure it is, because there's a place up for a turnaround on that one road.
Superintendent Bain, is there room down there for a school bus turnaround?
On which one?
On which road, Mr. Baker?
Both of them.
Both roads?
There is on Wallace, but there's not on Edgar Trent.
You hearing Commissioner Baker? He said there is on Wallace, but not on the other train.
Okay, then I guess my follow-up question would be, is there anything in the county that requires room for a school bus to have room to turn around before it's an official county road?
Can you hear him, Superintendent Bain?
Yeah, this was done in 1969.
Hey, Commissioner Bain, if you don't care, come up front.
This was done in 1969. There's a lot of roads adopted back then that don't meet today's qualifications, if you would have. So, just like some of the right-of-ways, we don't have right-of-ways on all the county roads. But today, it's gonna be a county road, we do have a right-of-way, 50-foot right-of-way. So, this is 1969. I can't explain how it was taken in, or who took it in, or, I was just 22 years old, so, you know, it's been a while. So, I don't know what to tell you about the turnaround. We have several roads that there's no turnaround at the end of.
But if it is taken in as a county road, you or the school system would fix the turnaround. wouldn't you?
Yeah, it's taken in as a county road today, there's a 75-foot turnaround at the end of it, if it's a dead end. That's the restrictions today. So.
Okay. Thank you, Lord.
Any more discussion? If not, cast your vote. Motion passes. Resolution 2018-1204, introduced by Commissioner Field.
To the Honorable Michael Burrell, Chairman and members of Hawkins County Board of Commission, Hawkins County Board of Commission, a regular session met the 17th day of December 2018. Excuse me. Resolution in reference, approval of speed limit of 55 miles per hour on Bradley Creek Road. Whereas the state of Tennessee allows the counties to set the speed limit on county roadways, and whereas the road committee met on November 15, 2018, and voted to raise the speed limit from 45 miles per hour to 55 on the following road: Bradley Creek Road at 55 miles per hour. Therefore, be it resolved that the 55 miles per hour speed limit on Bradley Creek Road to be approved, and the Hawkins County Highway Department place speed limit signs on said roads. Mr. Chairman, I so move.
Motion by Commissioner Field, second by Commissioner Thacker. Any questions? Commissioner Speaks.
When I first received this resolution in the mail, I really didn't have an opinion on it, but this is a road I travel every day, and so the next day, I just drove 55 on it too. And for those, let me back up. For those of you who don't know where this road is, it was a road that was created for the big trucks to get from 11W to the landfill. So that's the main users of it, of course, are bigger trucks taking trash to landfill. And you know, this road is the same as Carter's Valley or Stanley Valley or anywhere else. It's a 2-lane road. And I'm not real sure what brought this to the committee's attention, but I can say that I just asked around in my district, people that travel this road daily, and I didn't find a single person that wanted this raised. So since I am but a voice of my constituents, I will have to vote no on it. But I would also like to ask Tony Allen his opinion on it, since his officers are the one patrolling the road.
First and foremost, I'm having to fill in for the sheriff. If everybody don't mind keeping me in prayers, his father is in very bad health. So that's the reason why he's not in attendance tonight. Commissioner Speaks, I did the same thing you did. Actually, I went to Bradley Creek. I drove it 4 different ways this afternoon. I would set my speedometer at 40, 45, 50. Then I also went 55 and 60. At 55 miles an hour, I was still under control going from Highway 11W to the landfill, but for some reason, because of the grade of the road, traveling from the landfill back to the highway at 55 miles an hour, my vehicle was not fully under control. I would swerve quite a bit, especially in the grade. There's 2 sections of it. The first of the Carter's Valley side and on the highway side, it's fairly straightaways, but then you've got quite a bit of hills and turns inside of that. I actually went back and looked at our complaints. In the last 3 years, we've only had 4 complaints of speeders on that road. I had 1 complaint of a DUI. Went a little bit further, looked at the traffic crashes on the side of that road. In the last 3 years, we've had 9 traffic crashes. Out of those 9 traffic crashes, 4 of them was already due to speed. I didn't see what the speed was. It didn't list it on the accident report. With that said, it's an opinion on the sheriff himself. Most people drove here tonight, drove on the highway. Did anybody here drive at 55 miles an hour? More than likely not. Most people go 60, 62, 63 miles an hour. If you start hitting 60 miles an hour on Bradley Creek, you are going to be out of control. So, in recommendation on behalf of the sheriff, that it would probably be in the best interest of the community to leave it at 45 miles an hour.
Thank you, Mr. Allen.
Commissioner Burr.
He answered my question.
Commissioner Trent.
I would like to add that there has also been a fatality on that road.
Any more discussion? If not, cast your vote.
no.
Motion failed. Resolution 2018-1205, introduced by Commissioner Speaks and Commissioner Isles.
To the Honorable Michael Harrell, Chairman and members of the Hawkins County Board of Commission in regular session met the 17th day of December 2018. Resolution in reference to adopt the Jackson Law, whereas the general law codified in Tennessee Code annotated Title 68, Chapter 211, Part 7, known as the Jackson Law, provides for local approval of the construction of privately owned landfills, and whereas the procedures of the Jackson Law cannot be used by Hawkins County unless the county legislative body approves of its use by 2/3 majority vote, and whereas the people of the county desire that the Hawkins County legislative body approve of the construction of privately owned landfills for solid waste disposal before such landfills are constructed in the county, including those constructed within the boundaries of the municipalities of Hawkins County. Whereas this resolution has been approved by the Hawkins County Environmental Committee on December 3rd, 2018, now therefore be it resolved by 2/3 majority vote of the county legislative body of Hawkins County, Tennessee, meeting in regular session on the 17th day of December 2018, that the provisions of Tennessee Code annotated Title 68, Chapter 211, Part 7, particularly Section 68-211-701 through 68-211-705 and 68-211-707 regarding Hawkins County legislative body approval of new privately owned landfills for solid waste disposal are approved and are applicable in Hawkins County, Tennessee from the date of approval of this resolution. I so move.
Motion by Commissioner Speaks and Alves, second by
Only have one motion.
Commissioner Speaks.
I put Danny as the second.
Second by Commissioner Alves. Discussion, Commissioner Speaks.
I meant to point out earlier that this will not affect, our established landfill, BFI Carter Valley landfill, our contract with them, and I think, our county attorney can maybe give a little bit more information. We went into a binding contract with them that basically within their land up there in Carter's Valley, they can, expand as they wish. And they are actually in the process of trying to expand, upwards. So this will not affect Carter Valley landfill. This is in the event of a new landfill trying to be established within Hawkins County.
Any more discussion?
I'd like to recognize Mr. Dave Edwards, please.
At my age, I have to write it down before I could speak about it. Hawkins County Commissioners, thank you all for allowing our county residents to voice their opinions and suggestions at county meetings. I do not know who advised our commissioners to adopt TCA 68-211 Part 701, known as the Jackson Act. But it is the right thing to do. It is one of the many steps taken or to be taken to protect our environment. The next step after adopting the Jackson Act is to address the costs of adopting this act. This may mean enacting a system to monitor any landfill activities in our county. I'd like to stress the word any. This includes permit fees and other necessary financial compensations to our county. Everyone here in this room know 3 of our most valuable resources, and it is our children, uncontaminated water, and clean air. Thank you.
Any more discussion? If not, cast your vote. 2018-1206, introduced by Commissioner Field.
Certificate of elections of notary publics. Kathy J. Eldridge, 447 Caney Creek Road, Rossville, Tennessee, Eldridge Auto Sales. Christian D. Gray, 1076 Bulls Gap Street, St. Clair Road, Bulls Gap, Tennessee, Advance America. I so move.
Motion by Commissioner Field, second by Commissioner Packer. Any discussion? If not, cast your vote. Motion passed.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to move to suspend the rules to go over committee rules and regulations for the public hearing.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Fields to suspend the rules, second by Commissioner Nett. We're gonna do a voice vote on this.
Is this so the meeting can be moved upstairs, Mr. Chairman?
No, we're gonna set some rules before we go upstairs. All in favor to suspend the rules, say yay.
Yay.
All opposed, likewise. Motion passed. Commissioner Field.
Thank you, sir. The scope of the meeting is to obtain and confirm information regarding the realignment plan of Ballad Health and its effect on Hawkins County residents. Here's the rules that we're gonna go by and will be followed when we get upstairs. Unless the participant, if the topic of public meeting were placed on the agenda in advance, all participants will receive 3 minutes in which to speak. Advanced knowledge for placement on the agenda is considered to be within 24 hours of the scheduled meeting. Time allotments are to ensure fair and equal access to all who wish to speak. Therefore, yielding of time will not be permitted. I say again, yielding of time will not be permitted. Activities including but not limited to speaking out of turn, interrupting a speaker, inappropriate distractions, and actions atypical of productive and meaningful discourse will be deemed out of order. To ensure all information and comments are transferred with accuracy, the commission must confirm that any disruption will result in expulsion from the meeting. It is anticipated such disorderly actions will not occur. However, properly established meeting protocols will provide clarity. Public hearings in Hawkins County will ensure all participants receive equal respect and participation. The Hawkins County Commission adopts the above narrative as formal rules and regulations for public hearings. Passage and future amendment of these rules require a simple majority vote. I so move. Sorry.
Second.
Motion by Field, second by Commissioner DeWitt. Any discussion over these rules, need to make changes or anything? Yes, second by DeWitt. Any discussion?
Yes.
Commissioner Barrett?
The way I read this here, if we as commissioners agree to this tonight, the people upstairs probably was not aware of this 24 hours advance knowledge. I think this is a little too late as far as what's going on later. Now, I believe if you want to bring this up and vote on it in January and pass these rules and regulations 24 hours advance notice before the scheduled meeting, yeah, I think that would be fine. But I believe to approve this particular piece of paper and this particular set of rules tonight, prior to the meeting upstairs, I don't think it's right to the taxpayers of Hawkins County and the people that drove to come and speak tonight. It's my belief that a public meeting, public forum, everybody that comes ought to have the opportunity to speak. You know, that's my belief, and you know, that's why I was elected county commissioner, to stand up for the people. I do not agree with this piece of paper tonight. Thank you.
Mr. Barrett, I don't know if you just, I don't know, everybody that's come, well, according to this, gets a chance to speak. What it says is if you were on the agenda already, that you get your time. If you were not on the agenda, you will get 3 minutes, which is what we go by already. We already have a standing rule that 3 minutes is what we give. We're just making it public to anybody who does not know that before we get up there and they want to know why they can't have more than 3 minutes. That is the rule that we already follow as a commission. But it says, unless a participant is the topic of public meetings or placed on the agenda in advance, all participants will receive 3 minutes in which to speak. So everybody will get the chance to speak that wants to speak.
Okay, everybody's included, but they're just limited to 3 minutes.
Unless they were already on the agenda, anybody that wants to speak, yeah.
Okay.
And the ones that got on the agenda, I was notified for them to be on the agenda, so if somebody else, I wasn't notified, I mean, so the ones that's been on the agenda, I was notified for, so.
Okay.
That's what I was gonna tell you, I didn't know the other part I didn't know about.
Okay. Yeah, I was just a little concerned, I thought, well, if you think that give advance knowledge to get on it, I mean, people probably drove all over Hawkins County for nothing.
No, they will, everybody that wants a chance to speak and is recognized to speak, that gets recognized, will have an opportunity. You know, they just have to do like we do down here, just, you know, give us, if you want to speak, you just have to probably give a show of hands, so somebody can recognize you, you know?
Okay, thank you.
Is the meeting limited to 40 minutes?
Pardon?
Is the hearing up there limited to 40 minutes?
No.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes. Commissioner Brewer.
The only thing I say, in 3 minutes, most of the time, everybody can get the point across, but if somebody's making a good point and not got everything they need to get across, you know, could we recognize them for, give them a little additional, time, because, you know, I understand that. You know, this is a public hearing, and, I don't know what all's gonna be talked about tonight, but, you know, if somebody's on point and hasn't had time to get their whole point across, you know, I think that it needs to be done tonight and let everybody talk to what they need. I mean, I'm not saying give everybody 40 minutes, give everybody 30 minutes, but, you know, if most everybody can say what they need to say in 3 minutes. But if somebody needs additional time, if they request it, we could consider that.
If we're staying on topic, I mean, I'm fine with it, but I don't want us to get off topic.
That's what I'm saying.
And we gotta have limits, so.
Can I speak to that?
Yes, go ahead.
At what point are you, sliding someone else? I mean, if everybody knows ahead of time that they have 3 minutes to speak, to ask a question, to make comments, they're gonna prepare for that prior to getting up. I just think if you're gonna make decisions based on emotion as to who gets more time, just do away with it completely. Don't do a 3 minute allotment.
That's a valid point, Mr. Mayor.
Any more discussion? Okay, we're gonna do roll call. Yes is to adopt, no is not.
Commissioner Brewer,
Yes.
Donnie Talley,
Yes.
Linda Davis,
Yes.
Tom Kern,
Yes.
Dawson Fields,
Yes.
Charlie Thacker,
Yes.
Sybil Von Trent,
Yes.
Valerie Malik Owens,
Yes.
Larry Quantz,
Yes.
Charles Housewright,
Yes.
Michael Burrell,
Yes.
Raymond Jesse,
Yes.
John Metz,
Yes.
Bob Eden.
We'll go ahead and get a little head start up there. I was thinking about just shut it down and restart a new video for the hearing, but take a little tour of the courthouse and just keep it going. We got a head start.
Headed this way.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I'm gonna get in the jury box. Unless somebody tells me to get out. You need to get you a little flimsy one like this.
Yeah.
I got one of those big heavy ones too for the, I don't really need it for phone. Are they gonna turn around this way or turn around that way?
I don't know.
Is this where the commissioners are gonna sit?
Yes. The commission's gonna sit here and here and here, so wherever you all wanna set up.
I'm gonna go over there.
Nobody's gonna be sitting up back here, you all wanna sit up back there.
Oh, okay.
I'm good with it.
That works for, oh, sorry.
They're gonna be speaking right there.
Yes, right here, and this is the commission, and the commission here.
How about right here?
You guys see, I need to why don't you just sit right over here somewhere and find a good chair?
Oh, John.
Okay, if you're tuning in, you're wondering what's going on, this is a public hearing on the Ballad Health downgrade of the Kingsport Trauma Center from a level 1 to a level 3, and also the elimination of their NICU Trauma Center. They moved they just said the county commission, if you've been watching, that was down in the county commission meeting room on the first floor of the courthouse, and they moved us up to the, it was like we're pointed towards the audience now, so you did that on purpose, didn't you?
No, we just messed you all up. You won't go down there.
When we get down there, you'll turn it back this way.
No, we figured they'd want to talk to the audience. You?
I can tell you one thing, the sound in here is terrible. I don't know if they have speakers in here now, but I can set this thing here. Is that really a good way to do this? Trying to be the least obstruction as I can be to other people. box all the time back when Becker was judge. He let the reporters sit in the jury box. Yeah. I decided not to block you after all. I'm blocking somebody with
If anybody wants to speak,
Hey. Here.
just joining us, this is the public hearing for the Hawkins County Commission to hear comments about the Ballad Health downgrade of the Trauma 1 Center and the emergency room in Kingsport and the NICU Trauma Center elimination in Kingsport. Talking to my audience.
I need your name on one of these so we can have it. Does anybody else need to use the tablet?
Okay, we're gonna go ahead and call this town hall meeting to order. Commissioner Fields is going to reread the rules of this meeting.
The scope of the meeting is to obtain and confirm information regarding the realignment plan of Ballad Health and its effect on Hawkins County residents. Unless a participant is on the topic of the public meeting or placed on the agenda in advance, all participants will receive 3 minutes and wish to speak. Everybody that wants to speak has signed this paper. If you've signed this paper, you will get an opportunity to speak. If you haven't, I can't promise you will get an opportunity. All right. Advanced knowledge for placement of the agenda is considered to be within 24 hours of the scheduled meeting. Time allotments are to ensure fair and equal access to all who wish to speak. Therefore, yielding of time will not be permitted. You cannot give your time to somebody else just because you were down and ready to speak. You cannot give somebody else your 3 minutes so they get 3 more. Activities including but not limited to speaking out of turn, interrupting a speaker, inappropriate distractions, and actions atypical, unproductive, and meaningful discourse will be deemed out of order. To ensure all information and comments are transferred with accuracy, the Commission must confirm that any disruption will result in expulsion from the meeting. It is anticipated that such disorderly actions will not occur. However, properly established meeting protocols will provide clarity. Public hearings in Hawkins County will ensure all participants receive equal respect and participation. The Hawkins County Commission adopted this downstairs a while ago. We voted on this to do this. If you do speak, and it's your turn to speak or you're recognized to speak, we ask that you come up here where I'm standing and address the court. Thanks.
Okay, I'm gonna turn it over to Commissioner Matt.
Mr. Chairman, I'll go ahead and read the agenda. Presenters will have a cumulative 40-minute block to present their facts. Presenters must collaborate with other presenters, in this case, to ensure all presentations are made and properly articulated within the 40-minute presentation block. Floor open to commissioners for questions and comments with 3-minute allotment. Commissioners, please state your name and the district in which you serve. At that point, your time will begin. Once the commission speaks, and the floor is going to be open to the public with a 3-minute allotment. And when you speak, please state your name and the area of the county in which you reside. That also gives your county commissioner a heads up as to who you are and if you're in their district. So if you have future questions, you might want to contact them after that, and we'll adjourn the meeting and we'll move downstairs. So I'll go ahead and this meeting, Ballad actually was on the agenda. They contacted myself and Chairman Harrell on Saturday and stated that they would not attend, but they had a statement that they would like for us to read. You want to read that? Ballad Health leaders were pleased to provide detailed information to the Public Safety Committee and other members of the Hawkins County Commission on November 21 about our plans for advancing trauma and children's health care across the region. We have also had a number of follow-up meetings with EMS as well as the chairman of the Public Safety Committee. We understand that Monday's meeting will allow for public comment that was not provided in the earlier meeting. We believe our previous presentation and subsequent conversations with Hawkins County leaders have provided sufficient background for the commission, and we look forward to working with local EMS leadership to create a first-class regional trauma system. And that was from Mr. Andy Hall of Ballad Health. Submitted December 15th, 2018 at 12:42 p.m. At this time, I'll turn the floor over to Ms. Cook.
Dr. Spivey go first.
Dr. Spivey, you have the floor, sir.
Good evening. I'm Mickey Spivey. I'm an emergency physician at Kingsport. I practiced emergency medicine there for over 30 years. I've been extensively involved with EMS, fire, rescue, and dispatch during my entire career. I'm here tonight because I believe that the Ballad Trauma Plan to downgrade Huston Valley Trauma Center and Bristol Regional Trauma Center to level 3 is far too drastic for the safety of the people of the region, and I'm going to explain my concerns. All of us understand that trauma centers are important. They save lives, they improve outcomes, but that's provided that definitive care can be obtained within 60 minutes. The American College of Surgeons states that the risk of death decreases by some 25% if a person can receive definitive care at a level 1 trauma center within 60 minutes. That's the golden hour that we have all heard about. Rural trauma, however, accounts for some 60% of all trauma deaths. Because of this, timely access to definitive care is absolutely crucial. But this timely access to definitive care is difficult to obtain in our area. I think all of us understand that our mountainous terrains, their winding roads, and the weather, as we have just recently seen, in combination with their terrain, really makes air and even ground transportation not as efficient in our part of the country as in other parts of the state. For this reason, I believe all of our trauma centers are needed to ensure this timely access to definitive care. And I would refer you guys to the simple handout that I've given you. And I'm just going to show you some of this here in a minute, and I hope you can see it. I apologize if you don't see anything else. This is the Ballad service area map provided by Ballad on their website. And if you can look at that, you can see here's Holston Valley, Bristol Regional, and then down here is Johnson City Medical Center. Okay? If we look at the service area of Holston Valley, as you guys mostly know, has probably historically been the 11W corridor all the way up to the 23 corridor up into Virginia. So if we look at that, we actually can see this large area has historically been Holston Valley service area. Then Bristol Regional has pretty much been the I-81 corridor as well. If you look at this, it's pretty easy to see that almost 2/3 of the Ballad service area is either closer to Bristol or closer to Kingsport than it is to Johnson City. And I think most of us would probably say if we were going to pick a trauma center that to serve a region, we would probably pick a trauma center that was best located, most capable, providing the highest quality of care to the most people in your region. For some reason, felt like that probably wasn't the way that that occurred. One of the reasons that I believe that the trauma center in Johnson City was chosen is because the level 1 trauma center in Johnson City, in association with the regional perinatal center in Johnson City, qualifies Johnson City Medical Center to be a safety net hospital for the state of Tennessee. There's only 6 of those, and it's very important. But what it means to Ballad is millions and millions of dollars in state funding that comes into Ballad. Well, obviously those finances are extremely important for any healthcare system, but so are lives. So if we look at this and we say, if we chose a trauma center that wasn't best located, and we chose it for whatever other reason, don't you think it would be important that those folks looked at the folks that were disadvantaged, the other 2/3 of the Ballad service area, and say, don't we need to do everything that we can to try to make sure that you guys have timely access to definitive care? But no, that's not what happened. In fact, what's happened is that you have taken the hospitals that are closest to you, Holston Valley and Bristol Regional, and now said we're going to decrease those to the lowest trauma center in the state of Tennessee. How does that make you feel? You know, let's look at the trauma centers in Tennessee to understand this and my concern. A level 1 trauma center in the state of Tennessee requires 28 specialties to be available 24/7. A level 2, which is very similar in capability to a level 1, requires a few less specialties, 24 specialties to be available 24/7. Of those 28 and 24 specialties, 11 of those are actually medical specialties. But then we look at a level 3 trauma center, which we're going to reduce Holston Valley and Bristol to. A level 3, instead of 28 and 24, requires 4 specialties, guys. That's a huge, drastic change, okay? And those 4 specialties don't even include orthopedics, neurosurgery, not even radiology by current requirements. To me, that's too drastic. A level 1 and a level 2 trauma center does more than just require surgical specialties for trauma. It also requires 11 different medical specialties to be available 24/7. Cardiology, pulmonary, gastro, hematology, infectious disease, internal medicine, nephrology, pathology, a whole list of things, okay? 11 of those. And level 3 requires 1, and that's internal medicine. It's hugely important that these trauma centers, our level 1 and level 2 requirements, actually help ensure quality medical care as well as quality trauma care availability 24/7. And that's absolutely huge to you guys here in this area, okay? It's huge to all of us in 2/3 of the Ballad service area outside of the area right around Johnson City. Why in the world would this happen? Well, Ballad does pay the on-call physicians pay for being on call. They also provide locum tenens coverage, which are basically docs, okay, I mean, travel lead specialists who basically come in to fill a vacancy on a trauma or a call roster when the specialties are temporarily unavailable. The minimum requirements of a level 3 trauma center, with only 4 specialties required available 24/7, significantly decreases Ballad's obligation to provide on-call physicians, okay? Obviously, that equates to decreased cost to Ballad, but in my opinion, I think that the cost to the people and the patients may be extreme. I guess that my concern here is, what does a level 3 designation mean to you guys? Okay, to me it means uncertainty. It means uncertainty, okay? Tennessee has destination guidelines which basically state that certain patients with certain vital signs at the scene or certain specific injuries at the scene have to be transported to a level 1 trauma center unless it is refused by the patient or overridden by medical control, okay? You in Hawkins County are pretty well outside of that 30-minute window, okay? So what you need to be concerned about, what capability will Hostin Valley remain having, okay? As a level 3, you're only guaranteed 4 specialties available 24/7. So what happens to you if you're injured severely out here tonight? You may have a level 1 type injury. You may need to be going to a level 1 trauma center by destination guidelines, okay? But Hostin Valley is much closer. But what is that capability? And that is something that's hugely important, is that we've got to maintain the capability of Hostin Valley and Bristol Regional, both for trauma care and for medical care for the people in the 2/3 of the Ballad service area that has depended on those institutions for over 30 years. I think that's absolutely critical that you understand that. You've also heard Ballad say multiple times that 90% of the trauma care will be delivered locally, okay? Let me ask you this question. How in the world do you continue to deliver high-quality trauma care, as you have before, to 90% of the remaining patients when you have 86% of the specialties no longer required to be available? Those numbers don't add up, folks. It simply doesn't add up. You know, a trauma center is far more than a place in an emergency department. It's a commitment. It's a commitment by the personnel. Most important, it's a commitment by the leadership of these institutions that they're going to do everything possible to ensure that they save your life. In my opinion, a level 3 is not much of a commitment to the folks in the other 2/3 of the Ballad service area. I think you deserve more. For the last 30 years, I think that you have had the best chance of survival available if you are faced with a major medical or traumatic emergency. Ladies and gentlemen, I do not feel that you deserve any less tomorrow, and I hope that you will stand up and help us fight to ensure that everybody in this Ballad service area has equal access to timely, definitive care. Thank you very much.
So I want to thank the Hawkins County Commissioners for allowing me to speak. I know that I'm not a resident here. I was born and raised in Bristol. My parents came here after my dad got out of the military after 2 tours in Vietnam, so I came here to Hostin Valley, the ammunition plant. So I'm a homegrown girl, even if I'm not Hawkins County. The first thing that I want to give you some information on is everybody has asked about this COPA. You know, are you stuck with it? What does it mean? And I want to give you some vital information about that so you know what you have available to you. And the first thing I want to point out is in the COPA agreement, now this you don't have in your packets, but I'll be happy to send to you. It's page 29 of the terms of certification. And what this section says is it talks about things notwithstanding. And it says further, the following anticipated deletions and repurposings shall be considered pre-approved by the department as of the closing. Number 1, consolidation of level 1 trauma centers. What you did not hear is close Hostin Valley's trauma center in Lewiston, Johnson City. What you heard was consolidation of level 1 trauma centers. It is up to Ballad Health where they choose to make that level 1 trauma center, and I think it says a lot about where they're choosing to place it because it's not centrally located to the people in the region. It's just that simple. Number 2, consolidation of duplicate urgent care centers. Number 3, consolidation of surgery centers, surgery services at Indian Path and Holston Valley Medical Center. And number 4, consolidation of non-medical support services. What you did not hear was the downgrade of Bristol Regional's Trauma Center. That is not pre-approved by this COPA. What you did not hear was the closing of the level 3 NICU at Holston Valley Center because it's not included in this COPA. They tried to slide them on in together. Those are the facts. Now this one is in your packets, Commissioners. First thing that I want to talk to you about is the Certificate of Public Advantage. It should be the first thing that's in your packet. And if you turn to page 2, there's a couple of bullet points that are very, very important to you so that you know that this COPA is a living, breathing document. What it says at bullet 4 is pursuant to Tennessee Code, I'm not going to read all that, but this COPA is subject to modification if at any time the department, that's the Tennessee Department of Health, determines that the likely benefits resulting from the cooperative agreement no longer outweigh any disadvantages attributed to any potential reduction in competition that may result from the cooperative agreement. Number 5 says that this COPA is subject to termination for the same reasons. Number 6 says, in the event of a termination, there is a plan. Ballad has to put together a separation plan. And until they put together that plan of separation, this COPA stays in place, oversight stays in place, and somebody oversees them to make sure that they do what's right by the people and by the public. So it's important for you all to know you're not stuck with this thing. If we can show them that there is a severe and negative public disadvantage, then we can make them take action. And I believe that's clear from the challenges and the changes that they're trying to make in our system. The next piece that's in your packets, it references the document that I just read. So page 2, bullet 7, when it says, nothing in this COPA exempts Ballad from compliance with laws governing certificates of need. So in order to have a level 3 NICU, you have to complete a certificate of need. You have to show that there's a need. Our level 3 NICU meets every single requirement. Every single, we've got 15 beds. Everything that's required by the neonatal guidelines. Closing the NICU adversely impacts at least 3 of the 5 health plans. The state has the health plan's 5 principles for achieving better health. Closing the NICU directly impacts 3 of them: access to care, workforce, and economic efficiencies for the population, not for the hospital. Because what happens when you close this NICU and parents have to travel to see their babies and the cost that's incurred and transport costs, which I'm going to talk about transport. You hear them say, oh, well, it's okay. They can be born in Holston Valley and we'll just transport them over to Nicewalkers. Well, what if I told you that there's a study from the National Library of Medicine that says every 3 days when you do a pediatric transport, there's a problem. The child has an issue. It's not safe to do. You have to have specifically trained people with specific equipment to make that happen. And we don't have that now. Okay, so next. Closing the NICU, I want you to know this. In the last 18 months, now, I don't have data from July 4th of this year, but from June of 2017 to July of 2017 to June of 2018, the NICU at Holston Valley had 268 babies. You hear them talk about low census. I don't buy it. I mean, you can have a low census when you send babies to Nicewalker, right? That were originally intended to go to Holston Valley. That's how you get a low census. When I got here 4 weeks ago, I went to visit like I always do. And I'm going to be a little emotional because those are my NICU nurses. And I love them because they saved my grandbaby's life. They are the reason that I'm here. They are, and I love them so much. When I got here, they had 2 babies at that NICU. 2. When I was here 17 months ago, that NICU was packed. It was packed. They intentionally sent babies somewhere else to lower the numbers, folks. That's just the absolute truth. 268 babies. Guess how many of them were NAS babies? 66. At Indian Path, 25% of the babies born there are NAS babies. I'm going to get into that in just a little bit, but I want y'all to know this NICU had 268 babies, 84 of them were premature, 66 were NAS, 66 were in respiratory distress, and if you close it, that does not protect or promote the health of the population, and that's what the neonatal care system is, what it says it has to do. That's what the state health plan says you have to do, protect and promote the health of the population. These changes don't do that. I want to give you guys a reality check. People say, oh, we're still going to have jobs. This is a different map. This map comes from a gentleman by the name of Robert Town. It's in your package. Robert Town was hired to do an independent evaluation of this merger. He was paid $800 an hour by the Commonwealth of Virginia to determine if this is a good idea or not. And here's what he said: absolutely not. Because what happens is you have a monopoly. On average, Ballad Health covers 78% of inpatient care, which means you have no choice about who treats you, what they do, what your insurance covers, what it doesn't cover, who you're employed by. This is a medical monopoly, and this is what's happening to your healthcare system because the COPA was passed. But remember, I said that COPA is a living, breathing document. You just have to hold the people who oversee it accountable for what they're supposed to do. Now, Mr. Allen Levine likes to quote volume, volume, volume. You hear him talk about volume, about babies, right? If you have more babies and you put them in one place, it's going to be great because more volume means better outcomes. And to some degree, that's true. But let me just tell you, when he quotes the American Academy of Pediatrics, that's this. It's in your packet. It's actually talking about very low birth weight babies. Those will be babies that weigh less than 1,500 grams, less than 3.3 pounds. That's the study that he's referring to about volume. Let me tell you what it also says, because I can read long in one paragraph, and apparently Mr. Levine cannot. It says, other studies assessing NICU volume suggest caution in using this measure as an effective indicator of quality of care. They found that although annual volume explained 9% of the variation in hospital mortality rates, other hospital characteristics explained another 7%. They suggested that direct measures based on patient outcomes are more useful quality indicators than volume for the purpose of selective referral. Volume is not the only thing that matters when it comes to your babies. The staff matters, how they care matters, how much access you have to them, how much relationship do you have with the NICU. Let me tell you something. I would take my granddaughter Bella right now and I would take any of these folks right here, and I wouldn't blink my eyes twice. You can't buy that type of relationship. You can't buy that type of love, and you can't buy that type of care. The next thing I want to do is I want to talk to you about Hawkins County. Now, here's what's interesting. Guess where I got this information from? Ballad Health. It's on their website. I just tend to read a little bit. So they did a community assessment, looking at Indian Pack. And here's what it says. Your infant mortality rate is 11.2. What that means, Hawkins County, is 11.2 of your babies out of every 1,000 die. That's a sombering thought, isn't it? What's going to happen when they don't have an NICU that's at least a level 2, if not a level 3, readily available to them? That number will go up. I don't care what anybody says. Nobody's twinkling their nose and put some little pixie dust and everything's going to be all right. It just doesn't work that way. That's not the way medicine works. Your babies will continue to die. Your children with mass rate. Now let me tell you something. Sullivan County surprised me because theirs is 50.5. That means 50.5 out of every 1,000 babies in Sullivan County has NAS, neonatal abstinence syndrome. That's from being drug exposed. Hawkins County is even higher. Hawkins County is 55.7. They want you to take your babies all the way to nice longer. I'm going to let that just sink in for a second. And then I'm going to talk about real life. Because here's what I think about hospital care and health care. I think it's not about profits, it's about people. And I do understand that business is business, but I believe that you can save our hospitals without sacrificing the health and well-being of our communities. You just have to have the right mindset, and you just have to dig a little deeper and try something unconventional. Maybe you ought to work a little harder at it. That's my opinion. In the NICU, we talk about family a whole lot and the importance of treating not just the baby, but treating the entire family, and I'll tell you why. This packet, this little piece of information is titled NICU and the Importance of Family Care of a Treatment Plan. At the bottom of the second page, I've actually referenced the 2 studies that I got this information from for you. It comes from the National Library of Medicine and the National Health Institutes. Premature births could be deemed a traumatic event since there's a threat to the physical integrity of the mother and to a loved one, the baby. This trauma can lead to the parents of a premature baby having PTSD, with increased behaviors of avoidance, hyperarousal, and intrusion, preventing a normal transition to parenthood. The physical appearance of the baby, unexpected into the pregnancy, and limited ability to care for a baby in the NICU can leave a parent feeling helpless, powerless, and more stressed. Now, folks, listen, with the existing opioid crisis that we have in our communities, the lack of mental health care that we have, and the limited resources that are often due to the poverty rates that we have here, there is a valid concern for parents of NICU babies feeling additionally stressed, more helpless, more powerless. What do you think they're going to turn to? Closing the Holston Valley Medical Center NICU means these babies will be a greater distance away from many of these parents, and making it difficult to create the relationship that I referenced before between the parents and the medical staff. You have to trust that when they're going to stick tubes and needles in your baby's brain, you got to trust that they're going to do what's best. You don't develop that overnight. You don't do it from 30 and 40 miles away. You just don't. It is recommended. Let me tell you what the study says about kangaroo care. Kangaroo care is skin-to-skin contact. You ever see when a mom delivers the baby, they just go ahead and put him right up on her chest, right? Because there's something about skin-to-skin contact that helps babies. There's an attachment that forms. And what we know is that when they're in the NICU, when you get to the stage where you can do kangaroo care, this is what they say. Listen to this. It is recommended as a feasible, natural, cost-effective intervention that should be a standard of care in the delivery of quality health care for all infants, regardless of geographic location or economic status. Our babies should not get to cuddle with their mommies because they're 30 and 40 miles down the road. Who do you know around here who can afford transportation to Johnson City 3 or 4 or 5 times a week to see their baby? What do you do if you're a mom? Breast milk is incredibly important for these NICU babies. How's mama getting there with the milk? These are the things that Ballad's not taking into consideration. When you look at the average for this geographic service region is 20% average poverty rate. Rogersville is 30%, folks. When you look at the rural geography and the limitations that it brings, the high rate of premature births that we have, the high rate of both infant and maternal mortality, and the high rate of our mass babies, it is clear that keeping access to quality care is critical. Without it, the negative impact on preterm parents could be an additional aggravator to the existing opioid crisis that we have in this community. Now last, I'm going to tell you some things that I don't like about this code and the people who put it in place for you. There are several components to this hospital merger and the proposed and implemented changes to care and its oversight of this code that are of extreme concern to the public, as it creates a significant disadvantage in the following areas: patient access to health care, increased cost of health care, quality of care received, and employee impact. Now, Commissioner John Reisner's wife, he's the Tennessee State Health Department Commissioner. Y'all know he's the person who gets to say yay or nay to a COPA. His wife's a contracted employee of sorts through Ballad Health. She's listed on their website as a medical director. I personally believe that's a conflict of interest. He should have never had a say in this. If you monetarily benefited from this merger, you should have. I saw some of you commissioners downstairs say, hey, I can't vote on this, I got a conflict of interest. Well, I expect the same of our state leadership as well. Same thing for Senator Rusty Crowe. He's the VP of a company called Shared Health Services. They put all the wound equipment into the hospitals at Ballad Health. There's no way he should have been allowed to sponsor a bill called SB 2048 that kept all of this private from you. SB 2048 took a COPA that was meant to guarantee you transparency, and it said that they could hide from you what they intended to close. It said they could hide from you what they intended to repurpose. It said they could hide from you what they were going to pay people and who they were going to pay. I just don't think that's right. Call me crazy. Page 2, and then I'm done. Co-oversight and compliance is set up by the Tennessee State Health Department. With the conflict of interest that you see with Commissioner Dreiser, it just makes me feel like there needs to be some independent oversight. Gary Miller is the COPA compliance officer. You hear them talk about him all the time. Well, Gary Miller His paycheck is paid for by Ballad Health. He used to work for Wellmont prior to the merger, and out of his own lips told me he's pro-merger. Well, here's my question to you. If I paid you to grade my papers, would you give me money? Probably so. Larry Fitzgerald is the man that the state of Tennessee appointed to oversee the COPA. They didn't do it until the middle of May. They went 5 months with no oversight from the state. 5 months. And he only works part-time. The COPA is 119 pages, folks. I can tell you now, it takes more than part-time to follow up on Ballad Health. It's taken a whole lot of my time to chase down every change they're trying to make. What I really want to tell you all is I'm not here for me. I'm here for my grandbaby, both of them. I'm here for my mom, my daughters. I'm here for my NICU nurses. And I'm here because I just value humanity. I think that you matter. I think that every baby matters. I think that every mass baby matters. Every premature baby matters. Every trauma matters. You deserve to have the best access to health care there is. And we could rearrange this $380 million they're supposed to spend over 10 years and do a better job of what they're proposing to do for you right now. Thank you.
You've heard from the smart ones of our group already, so they leave the dumb one to follow up. I don't have the degree, I don't have the knowledge that Danny has, but I can tell you this. 5 weeks ago, this woman came into my life to help me and to help you. She's worked her butt off, and she has done it with ethics and with morals and with standards that if Ballad Health were treating us this way right now, we wouldn't be here. Folks, I want to, Dr. Spivey's done showed you this map one time, but I want you to notice something. On this map, from here, this direction, from the dark blue line to the light blue line, Hawkins, Sullivan, Scott, Lee, Wise, Dickinson, Buchanan, Washington County, Virginia. Folks, these decisions they're making is we're the only ones that's hurting. Those counties are the only ones that's hurting. Nobody else is suffering like we are. If you think that we have not had conversation with Ballad, you're highly mistaken. I have personally reached out to Eric Deaton, Vice President. We've offered to sit down with him and Andy Hall and talk about a resolution to all this, a compromise that would lead to a level 2 NICU or a level 2 trauma center at Johnson City and Bristol. They don't want to hear it. We've made the offer. They don't want to hear it. Ballad's motto is, it's your story, we're listening. They're not listening. They're not listening to me. They're not listening to you. How many of you folks in here tonight are residents of Hawkins County? Raise your hands for me. I got 3 questions I want to ask you. Yes or no? And I want to hear you loud. How many of you are concerned by the restructuring that Ballad is proposing? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes. How many of you have heard Ballad's plans, their marketing plans with no specifics, and yet you're still concerned? Yes or no?
Yes.
And how many of you here tonight expect your elected representatives to stand up for you and pass opposing resolution to Ballad Healthcare tonight? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Folks, your people are speaking. There are some good folks on the executive team with Ballad. I don't doubt that. I've had great conversations with a couple of them. They're good people, but they're drinking the Kool-Aid too. Some of these decisions that are being made are going to end the lives of residents in Hawkins County. I've asked this question repeatedly of a few of those people. Promise me, standing here today, that the survivability rate will not be influenced by the travel time from Houston Valley to Johnson City, and they can't do it. They cannot do it. Folks, this is personal for me. In April, I ran a 7-year-old child who was in a little red wagon who suffered a traumatic brain injury. We were on scene in 4 minutes. We were with her 10 minutes. We had a 7-minute transport time to Hostin Valley, 6 miles away. And one of Ballad's own trauma surgeons that are standing here telling you that it's going to be okay, told us if we were 10 minutes later getting to the hospital, she wouldn't leave. Would she make it to Johnson City? No. That's why I do this. No other reason. 35 years I've been a volunteer. In one capacity or another, from the sheriff's office to the rescue squads to the fire departments. I've worked with Dr. Spivey when the ER was in the old place. You've got folks here in this audience that have taught me immensely, that have worked their butt off for you. So let me ask you a question. When one of your deputies, or one of your volunteer firefighters, or one of your people with EMS is out here on a call, protecting you and the citizens of Hawkins County, and they get hurt, do you want them to have to go to Johnson City to stand a chance to live? Or do you want them to go to Kingsport? Because guess what? It's happening already. It's happening every day. People that used to be treated at Hostin Valley are being sent to Johnson City. I promise you, it's happening every day. So my challenge is for you today for this. You have 3 resolutions that you are considering tonight, opposing the restructuring plan of Ballad. We have been county to county, town to town for the last 5 weeks. And I am proud of the people that are representing our citizens. There is only one place that I have felt ashamed to be, 2 places, I'm sorry, that I have felt ashamed to be at because of the way their citizens are being represented, because they're not listening to what their citizens are telling them. And hopefully come election time, we'll take care of that. So, you heard your folks here tonight. There ain't nothing better that I'd like to see than a 21-0 supporting of the opposing resolution about health care. Before we cut this off, I want to thank you for your time, I want to thank you for your attention, and I want to thank you folks for showing up. Thank you.
At this time, I'll open the floor to commissioners. If you have specific questions for Ms. Cook, Dr. Spivey, Mr. Bradshaw, please direct those questions direct to them, or simply if you have comments you would like to make. The floor is now open to the commission.
My name is Donnie Talley. I'm Commissioner in District 7. I have a question for the first speaker, the doctor. Valley led me, at least, to believe that they having problems staffing a trauma center, especially, you know, 2 in close areas. Is that a reasonable answer? Yeah.
Yes, sir. I think that you know they probably do have difficulty in staffing at times. Okay, but I do think that it's important to understand one thing about the fact that these folks that are paid to be on the call, the specialists when they are on call, it's important to understand that these folks are on call for everybody, not just for the trauma service. They're on call for example, I think the presentation Valley talked about urology at one time. Talked about the amount of money that they get paid urology to be on call 24/7 and only utilized very few times for the phone service. But it's important to understand that those slides that you saw were the number of times that trauma consulted urology, not the times that urology was consulted by the emergency department or internal medicine or family practice or all these other specialties. And for some reason they chose not to share those. But yes, in answer to your question, there is some difficulty, I think, with all hospitals in being able to secure full-time specialty coverage.
Is that, are they not going to college to be a trauma doctor, or what's the problem?
Well, trauma surgeons are certainly a rare breed, okay? As a level 3 trauma center, that's one of the things that you're not required to have. You're not required to have a trauma surgeon. You're required to have a general surgeon available 24/7, not a trauma surgeon. That's kind of important when you're dealing with severely traumatized folks, that somebody has been on call, and with all due respect to the training of a general surgeon, they do wonderful jobs. But they're used to doing gallbladders and appendixes and those type of things, and not taking care of folks that are severely traumatic injured day after day. So it's really important that they do try to keep these specialties available. And that's what's so important about trying to maintain a level 1 or level 2, is that they really do go beyond the fact that you have some requirements that actually mandate that these people are on call, instead of saying, well, you know, today, because I'm a level 3, I don't have neurology available. So, but we'll just send them over to Johnson City. And that's what happens more and more frequently, because we're not having major requirements available.
Thank you.
Board Commissioner.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to ask if, a representative is in the audience, if he had anything to say.
Hang on 1 second, Mr. Commissioner.
Yes, I
Hi, my name is Ballad Health. I'm the Commissioner of District 5, Hawkins County. I guess I'm speaking as a personal experience. I have a little granddaughter, and she was 1 year old in November. She was born at Hostin Valley, and the day after she was born, she started hemorrhaging. They had to give her blood and send her on by aircraft to Knoxville. They didn't even feel that she could be taken care of in Johnson City. So they loaded her up and took her on there. They were told if she had not had that NICU at Hostin Valley, she would have not made it. So I'm speaking as a grandparent and someone that can look at her granddaughter now and play with her because of these faults at Hostin Valley. Thank you.
I was wondering if, our representative Gary Hicks is in the audience. I saw him earlier.
Got me.
I wondered if he had anything he wanted to add to this.
If it'd be all right, Commissioner Tacker, I would love to speak, but if it'd be okay, I don't want to jump in front of the ones that have signed up, and I will certainly speak at the end, if that's all right. If that's okay.
Any others?
My name is Hannah Speaks, and I am the Commissioner in District 4. I will probably get emotional here too. I have 2 small children, and when Dr. Testerman spoke to us at the Public Safety Committee meeting, he talked about something called the golden hour. And basically, that if your body suffers major trauma, there's something in the medical field called the golden hour, and that's how much time they feel like they need to adequately save your life. And I thought a lot of times since all this about that golden hour. I wonder first if Dr. Testerman would be feeding us the same propaganda if he had not just recently been promoted within Ballad Health. If I learned anything in life, it's that money can't buy you happiness, but it sure can change your way of thinking. So I'm concerned about that, and I live in Survivonsville, which is kind of the middle part of this county, and I think about that golden hour and how that golden hour ties to my children. My children didn't need NICU, and I appreciate you all for what you do, but they were born full-term and healthy and ready to take on the world. But if I'm in a head-on collision tonight in Survivonsville, and Hawkins County EMS does their best to save me, by the time I get to Johnson City, my golden hour's gone. And so above all else, above being a commissioner, I'm a mother. And it is my obligation to my children to fight this all that I can, because at the end of the day, I need to come home after that trauma and I need to finish raising them. And the way I see it, there are only two sets of people that will benefit from this merger, and that's Ballad Health and maybe the local funeral homes. Thank you.
Any others?
I do. I'm Commissioner Jeff Barrett, 2nd District from Churchill, upper end of Churchill. I spent 5 years as a volunteer fireman, responding to house fires, emergency calls, car wrecks. I did that for 5 years. I left that and joined Churchill Rescue Squad. I served 5 years as an emergency medical technician. During my length of service with those two groups as a volunteer, I saw many people in distress. I've seen many people in the back of an ambulance. I've been there with them. I've seen people, blood, guts, heart attacks. I have done CPR on people, mouth to mouth, from Standing Valley to Ocean Valley Medical Center, praying that my ambulance driver in the front of the vehicle can get me there before this guy that I'm working on dies. I have seen people die in the back of an ambulance. When I first seen what Ballad was planning to do, I went back to those days of my volunteer service. And I remember the stress, the duress of trying to get to the hospital. My thoughts and intentions and things for that is for Mr. Jason Merle in the back and the EMS people and the firefighters in Hawkins County. I support it. I've been there, and that's why. Thank you.
Any other commissioners? Final call. At this time, we'll open the floor to the public. First individual on the list, Catherine Bailey.
Hello, I'm
lady, I'm from the 7th district over in Mike and Spanish district. First off, I want to thank Dana for all her work. It's amazing. This woman is spent. I mean, she's got involved. If it wasn't for her, I don't know what we'd do. We're not planning on going to Johnson City. We're staying, we're going to Kingsport. I wasn't lucky, but I can say this, I did get to go to the trauma center hosted back in '92. Had a motorcycle wreck over towards Sneeville, still in the Hawkins County sector. Thanks to the EMS, they were there, responded across the mountain pretty angry fast on this stuff. The helicopter couldn't fly because the weather was bad. So the only way I had to go was by EMS, by the rescue squad. They brought me over to Rogersville, got me secured. The doctor come in and told my mom and dad he's going to transfer to the trauma center in Kingsport. I had brain. I was bleeding out of my brain. Let me tell you, they don't call Bloody 11W for no reason. That's part of why we got a whole host of balance called that right there, Bloody 11W. And I mean, you know, I went up there, and they got me there fast. Now think about it, folks. If they had to take me all the way to Johnson City, they'd have to go up 11W. God forbid there's not a wreck on 11W, it's got it shut down. Then you've got to get on 26. Anybody knows 26, I was a manager up in Gray at a warehouse, at a plant. Numerous times, 26 was shut down completely because of an accident. You could not get there, or the weather was so bad, you couldn't get there. Now, if it's that, and a helicopter can't fly, how are they going to get you over the state of Franklin, then around that big route to get you over to Johnson City? They can't. You're probably going to die in the ambulance. Plain and simple. Don't it make you wonder why the CEO, Allandale, is from Florida? He don't know nothing about it. If you ask him why they call it Bloody 11W, he wouldn't have a clue. He would not have a clue what 11W, the accidents, and think about it. How many accidents has happened right down here or lower end of Roswell in the last little bit where people's got severely hurt, had to go. And just the other day, for anybody who didn't know, when it snowed, 26 was shut down again. It was shut down. You're not going to get an ambulance up through there or nothing.
Thank you, Mr. Barry, for
I want to thank you all. I want to thank you personally for everything you've done.
Now recognize Gary Brady. I apologize if I mispronounced.
My name is Gary Frady. I live in Churchill. I appreciate the opportunity to speak to you. I took the time to write my comments down because I don't want to miss anything. First and foremost, I think it must be clearly understood that Ballad Health is a business. As with any business, profit is a major driving force in the decision-making process. This means that when push comes to shove, often decisions will be made that are in the best interest of the business and not necessarily for what is in the best interest of the patients. In my opinion, many of the changes Ballad Health has announced are tied directly to improving the bottom line financials of the business, while negatively impacting patient accessibility to timely medical care. Nowhere is this result more clearly seen than in Ballad's stated intent to close Holston Valley NICU. Babies that would have previously routinely been transferred to Holston Valley NICU are now being transported to Johnson City. This often means that a fully functioning NICU, which is readily available and highly qualified people are available for care of these at-risk infants, this facility is being intentionally bypassed, and these infants are being transported significantly longer distances to Johnson City in order to receive the critical care they so desperately need. It doesn't require rocket science to understand that time is a critical factor for these infants. No reasonable person would want to further complicate an already massively complicated situation by increasing the transport time necessary to get these infants to the critical care they need. To me, it means Ballad Health is willing to expose at-risk babies to additional and unnecessary risk. In my opinion, Ballad does not deserve the trust of the citizens of Hawkins County because they have shown by their actions a total disregard for the negative impact their decisions are making and will continue to make on the people they are supposed to be serving. I strongly urge this elected body of commissioners to pass a resolution tonight that, number one, opposes Ballad Health plan to close the Poston Valley NICU. Number two, it opposes Ballad Health's plans to lower the Poston Valley Level 1 Trauma Center designation to a Level 3 designation. And that it opposes Ballad Health's plans to move the cancer infusion treatment services In addition, I would like to ask this body to send copies of such resolution to the Tennessee Department of Health Office, to the Tennessee Attorney General's Office, and to the COPA Oversight Authority's offices. Alone, these actions taken by this body tonight will not change Ballad Health's plans. However, when these actions are combined with those of the Sullivan County Commission, the Scott County Board of Supervisors, and other governing bodies in our region, our voices will be heard. I'm asking you, as our Hawkins County Commissioners, to stand up and to be the voice of the citizens of Hawkins County in this fight to save our healthcare system from becoming a state-sanctioned monopoly that can do anything it wants without consequence.
My name's Alan Lark. I'm actually from Kingsport, but I have a lot of family and friends in Hawkins County, including Commissioner Thacker. We are related. Something I want to point out, you all heard the nice gravy side. What you all heard is an elaborate business plan. Look at Ballad's Board of Directors. They are business people. They have brought in business people to streamline a business plan to make 20 hospitals the most efficient operating device it can be. Nowhere in this have you heard this is going to better equip our health care. The regional trauma system, that is a fairy tale. It's impossible to work. If you was to get shot tonight, we can't take you to the local hospital because the doctor's going to look at you and go, oh God, he's got shot. You've got to go to a trauma center. The question you asked about trauma doctors being hard to get, yes they are. But Ballad even admitted in their first year of business, with 2 level 1 centers open and a level 2, they made a profit. One thing not on their priority list, look at their website, one thing not on their priority list is recruitment and retention of employees. They don't care. If that gets mad and quits, they hire a new grad. And when they have a trauma, the new grad goes, how did I do that? I've not seen this before. And the one thing they have, they don't want to pay the money for a trauma surgeon. But you bet your sweet dime they're figuring on their raise at the corporate level. They will get their $8 million raise, whether the trauma doctor gets it or not. But you remember it said the other thing too, your NICU baby. Y'all got kids. Oh, y'all have kids, okay? I've not had the luxury of having a child. But you've got a small baby. Let's say it weighs 4 pounds. It's not doing well at all. It needs to go to another center to have care. This little baby You just can't put it in the back of a regular ambulance. It takes a special ambulance. This little baby is going to have all kinds of tubes going through it to make it survive. Okay, now, you're going to put your baby in an ambulance to take a ride to Johnson City Medical Center in 12 inches of snow, no aircraft available when it could have been taken care of in-house. There is a lot at stake here. Their only concern is money. We're concerned about our lives. Why do I care living in Kingsport? The decision you all make affects this whole region too. If we don't stand together, we'll fall. Thank you.
Jerry Kulikowski.
My name is Geraldine Kulikowski. I live in Port Valley. I happen to be deaf. If you see my interpreter, that's why. Okay? The gentleman spoke about people being sent every day to Johnson City instead of Austin Valley. I had a personal experience last month to this. On November 11th, I had a medical condition shortly after midnight. I called my son, he called 911. They came out, they were very kind. They thought I was having a stroke. Everything was going round and round and I couldn't stop. So they decided I needed to be airlifted to Johnson City, not Austin Valley. Okay, so my son called one of my friends as an interpreter so she could be at the hospital to help me understand what was going on. My friend from here beat me to the hospital in Johnson City. If I was really having a stroke, that time was very critical. I mean, they were called shortly after midnight. Maybe they got there about 12:30. My friend said I never got to emergency till 2:25. I would have died in that time. Why wasn't I taken to Houston Valley? They told my son because Johnson City was the closest hospital. I mean, I'm in no condition to argue with them. But right now, I'm hearing that if you are airlifted and you're not taken to the closest hospital, insurance is not going to pay. I saw the bill for the airlift, over $44,000. You want me to pay over $44,000 because they chose to take me to Johnson City instead of Houston Valley. They have not changed the trauma yet. So I could have been taken to Houston Valley. And I'm very disappointed in it. Thank God I did not have a stroke. But I just wanted you to know what the man said. It happens every day. And I'm a good example of it. Thank you.
Mays.
I want to make one thing clear about what she said, though.
If you could wait,
Okay.
and now,
Okay.
no, this is not your call, I'm sorry.
Good evening, my name is Evan Mays, I'm from Churchill. To start off, I'd like to quote one of my favorite political leaders, Shirley Chisholm. She once said, "If they do not give you a seat at the table, bring a folding chair." I would like to thank each of the commissioners tonight for listening to their constituents, but I would also like to especially thank each and every one of you for coming, folding chairs in hand, to sit at the table and talk to Ballad. I was very disappointed that Ballad did not send representatives here tonight. I think that it speaks volumes as to their concern for your rights to health care, for your right to life, that they did not find it necessary to come tonight. I do have several questions for them that I would like to ask. Did they consult with a third-party healthcare firm about this decision, and if so, will that report be made public? How do they expect the citizens of this county to pay tens of thousands of dollars, as that wonderful woman back there just said, for med flights and ambulance bills to Johnson City? And lastly, how do they respond to claims that there are multiple conflicts of interest within state governments and their organization? This was their chance to defend themselves and answer our questions, listen to your voices. And as I said before, I think it speaks volumes that they did not attend this evening. As that gentleman over there said, Ballad Health's slogan is, "It's your story, we're listening." Well, over the past few weeks, I've had the pleasure of speaking with so many different members of this community, members who this decision will affect, people who were treated in that NICU, people whose children were treated in that NICU, people who were treated at the Level 1 Trauma Center. I've spoken with emergency responders. My brother himself is an emergency responder. And Ballad doing this, they're expecting us, as I said, to use medical helicopter flights. They're expecting emergency responders to basically play God and choose who gets to go to the hospital first, choose who gets to take a med flight, who gets to ride by ambulance. How do they expect to make these decisions? Last week, or this past week, on Thursday, I turned 18 years old. That's 18 years since I was born at Holston Valley Medical Center. 18 years that I've lived in this community, 18 years that I have gotten to know so many amazing members of this community. However, the members of Ballad's board, the directors of Ballad, do not share those characteristics. They aren't from here. They don't know us, and clearly, they do not understand what this region needs. So, commissioners, even though Ballad has decided to not live by their slogan, you have. You listened to so many different amazing members of this community tonight who have brought their folding chairs in hand to sit at this table with Ballad to discuss this, and I hope it plays into your decision to publicly denounce Ballad's move. That they did not show up tonight, they didn't listen to you, they did not listen to us, and I hope that you defend your constituents, their rights to health care, and their right to survive. Thank you very much.
Whose district was Mr. Mays cover?
Two.
Said Churchill.
Yeah, I'm from Churchill.
You know what district you're in?
I'm close to Walter High School, but also.
Mr. Gibson, I assume that probably.
You live in the city limits?
Yes, sir.
Maybe second district.
Okay, well, Commissioner in second district can get with Mr. Mays after this, since he had pointed questions and he had those typed up, get those from him either by email, and we'll move those forward to Ballad. Mr. Bradshaw, did you?
Yield.
Okay. Anyone else wish to speak?
I make one point, Mr. Chairman.
Certainly.
I'll say the trick. One thing to point out with Ballad, currently with the 3 trauma centers in Northeast Tennessee, they all have a trauma physician on staff 24/7. I'm gonna pick on these 2 ladies up here. Both of them had traumatic injuries. One of them could go to Holston Valley, in the door, get a trauma surgeon. This lady, worst case scenario, we could fly her to Bristol, in the door, she gets a trauma surgeon. If Ballad is successful with their plan to make Johnson City Medical Center the only level 1 trauma center, that will be the only hospital in Northeast Tennessee, Southwest Virginia, Southeast Kentucky, and North Carolina that has a trauma surgeon. The other 2 hospitals will have a general surgeon. Look up in Wikipedia the difference between a trauma surgeon and a general surgeon. A trauma surgeon is trained to handle whatever's thrown in front of him. Gunshot, amputation, whatever, it's his ball game. He knows it. He knows how to fix it. You throw that same scenario in front of a general surgeon, that's not his cup of tea. He's an appendix gallbladder guy. So, I mean, you take the chance. Well, You've had a bad accident. We know what the golden hour is. It's already a challenge. Now, are you going to be the one to get the trauma surgeon, or are you going to be stuck in the room waiting until he gets free?
One of your constituents brought up the Allandale Cancer Treatment Facility, and I'm gonna give you 60 seconds just so you all know what that's about.
Unless there's any objection, we'll return to where I understood.
So, part of the certificate of certifications defines what a service line is. Cancer is considered to be a significant service line. So if Ballad Health is going to make any change to a major portion of the service line, they're supposed to give the state health department 90 days notice before they do anything. Well, on October 8th, they hired a company called Golan's Ration Cane, and they got a permit for alterations for Ballad Health Infusion Therapy at 2202 North John B. Dennis Highway for almost $2.5 million. That facility is over 70% complete, and it is scheduled to open January 21st. What that means is the Allandale facility, where your residents go now for chemo or for MS infusions or Crohn's disease, they will no longer go to Allandale, which is what we call a physician-based facility, because it's not in a hospital and it's not within 250 yards of a hospital. So when they go to get treatments, now they're paying $20 copay, that's it. When they will go to this new facility, because it's within 250 yards of Indian Path, they will become hospital-based, which means they will pay that $20 copay, and they will pay a $130 facility fee on top of that for every treatment. So I know folks who've reached out to me that are getting 6 and 8 treatments per month. You do the math. You tell me you can go from paying, if you have 4, that's $80 a month, right? And now it goes from $80 to $600. On top of that, the other thing that they have done is with radiology, you have to pay your portion in advance. So for example, if you are going to get your PET scan done to see if your chemo is actually working, you have to be able to pay for your portion of that PET scan at the time that you get it, or you can't get it. Well, if you don't have that $400 to $500 for that PET scan, your oncologist doesn't know if your cancer treatment's working, they don't know how to make adjustments for it, and they cannot justify it to your insurance company. So what is your insurance company going to do? It's going to deny your claim. So who's going to pay for your chemotherapy? So while people are dying, while people have long-term critical conditions that they have no choice but to get treatment for, Ballad has figured out a way to take more money from their constituents or let them suffer at the same time. That's what he's referring to when he says Allandale. And I agree, it would be absolutely amazing. I will tell you this, I have pictures of the facility if you would like to see it. People sent them to me. It's not, like I said, it's over 70% complete. I personally sent an email outlining everything that I just told you, and I sent it to Jeff Opperman at the Tennessee State Health Department this morning. He replied back shortly after and told me, thank you for sending it. Their legal department was going to review it, and they would advise them what action they could or could not take. So I will be happy to share that email with you as well. Thank you.
Final call. Mr. Hicks.
First of all, let me say, I know it's already been said, the gentleman, that thank you all for being here. Thank you all for giving me the opportunity to be able to hear you, and that's why I'm here. Let me make that first and foremost. That was my goal for tonight, was to sit here and listen to each and every one of you. And let me say this, and I don't want to steal a slogan, I'm just going to be honest with you. I don't know if Ballad's listening, that I can hear you hits it. I don't do that for applause. I really don't. I appreciate it, but I really don't. I hope you realize the concerns. This is such. I can't tell you how important this issue is for my district, Hawkins and Hancock County. And I certainly would like to start from the very beginning. But first of all, I just made a couple of points I want to make, because I don't want to just get up here and ramble on. We could talk about this for a long time, I know, and many of you can. First of all, the public outcry has been phenomenal. I can tell you I speak to many folks each and every day concerning these changes that Ballad Health has proposed. And I can assure you that each and every day that I speak with Ballad Health, I speak with the Department of Health, at the state level, I speak with the Commissioner. One thing that I have to make sure that I do is I want to hear from both sides. And so one of the things that I'm tasked with is listening to both sides. So when I hear something, I appreciate it, I write it down, and then I go straight to the source and I find out what's going on. That's just how I'm going to operate and do things. So when I hear things, I was on the phone with the Commissioner on Friday for quite a while, and I had several questions that many of my constituents had brought up, and I wanted to ask the Commissioner straightforward, tell me what's going on. I want to know what's going on. And so let me address the NICU first. The NICU, if you haven't seen the letter, and I don't think it's been referenced here today, but there was a letter sent out by the Commissioner, Commissioner Dreisner, on, I guess it was in the days, maybe it was Wednesday or Thursday. Thursday the 13th. Correct. And so a part of that is that the Department of Health, the Commissioner, and along with the Attorney General, has said, okay, there's more information we've got to get. So let me say this, and your voice is being heard. Let me say that. Your voice is being heard. And you have to continue to do that. It can't stop at this meeting. It has to continue on. I guess let me back up to come forward. So the COPA was passed, the Certificate of Public Advantage was passed back in April 2015. I came on December of 2015, so the COPA was already put in place. The COPA, just to give you really short and dirty what the COPA does, the COPA allows for the state to grant a Certificate of Public Advantage to keep the FTC from basically filing an order in federal court to stop a merger. And so what has been done across the country is states have come up with Certificate of Public Advantages. And what that does is, so far, that has kept the FTC from coming in. Okay, and so that's what the Certificate of Public Advantage. Danny, is that fair from what you're...
Well, no, they applied for the COPA in 2015. The application for the COPA was not accepted until September 2017.
Exactly. Yeah, we're talking about the COPA legislation, was done in 2015.
Correct.
The COPA legislation was done, and a part of that, so what the COPA says is, okay, and I don't mean to get this far deep in the weeds, and I'll speak with anybody, whatever I need to afterwards, and so I may do I just want to briefly go through this. So what the legislature did back in 2015.
Can I interrupt?
Yes.
I know your 3 minutes is up.
Oh.
But due to the fact of Representative Hicks having direct communication with, and he's referring to Tennessee Department of Health Commission, do I have any objection to allow him to continue on since it's pertinent information? Sorry, Mr. Hicks, go ahead.
Sorry, that was that 10-year county commissioner coming out in. Sorry, I thought I was one of them for a second. So what the legislature did back in 2015, and I'll be brief as I can. 2015, basically the General Assembly said, state of Tennessee, if you want to grant this, if you're going to grant this merger, then here's the rules you have to follow. It says, not only does there have to be public advantage, but also there has to be oversight. Okay, that's the role that the General Assembly played in the COPA. And so then move forward, and I feel obligated to speak. You mentioned Senate Bill 2048.
Right, you used the House bill for 2020.
Yes, exactly. And that's why I wanted to mention that, certainly. And I want to be totally transparent. If you ask me a question, I'll give you an answer. You may not like it, but I'll give it to you. So House Bill 2020 was brought to me, and when you look at the original bill, the bill had a lot of items on there, and so the COPA, so I've had to go back and look at a lot of the COPA legislation because it wasn't there. So went back and looked at the COPA legislation, and so a lot of the COPA, there had to be business information, had to be shared, okay, had to be given, had to be submitted to the state. And so that was going to fall, of course, under public record. And so what House Bill 2020 did is it said, okay, first of all, it was way too broad. And so there was a lot of folks come out of, well, basically a lot of folks come on the scene and said, you know, wait a minute, this is totally going against what the code was supposed to do. And so we began to look at it, and it was way too broad. And so what we decided to do was we went back, and so we got with, actually with the Tennessee Coalition for Open Government, the Attorney General, and they sat down and they wrote a bill which was what was amended. So House Bill 2020 got amended, and again it was a bill I carried, and so it said that proprietary information still had to be submitted. So all the business stuff, all the business information still had to be submitted to the Attorney General, still had to be submitted to the state of Tennessee, to the Department of Health. When I say state of Tennessee, that's what I'm referring to. And so what happens then? So those, and there was about 10, I think there was 10 items on there that could be deemed proprietary information. And what happens? So they submit that, them being valid, they submit that information to the Attorney General, to the Department of Health. At that time, they can look at that information, and Ballad may say, hey, that's proprietary information, we don't want anybody seeing that. Well, there's measurements, so there's actually, there was some caveats in place that, well, that's fine. You may not think that, you may think that's proprietary information, but we disagree. So the Attorney General, the Department of Health, and again, the Commissioner could say, this is not proprietary information, therefore it's going to be, it's going to be open records for everyone to see. As far as the change with the level one, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Okay, can I give you what those 8 areas are?
Yes, please.
Okay. So what they are is operating and capital budgets, existing and future business plans other than any plans, and any modifications to those plans that are required to be submitted to the state pursuant to a certificate of public advantage or application for a certificate of public advantage, financial audit working papers, contracts or agreements with payors and payer pricing information, physician recruitment plans and contracts, which we think would be really good to know since we're promising to hire all these folks, but I digress. Physician recruitment plans and contracts or agreements with physicians, contracts or agreements with vendors, which would include Senator Rusty Crowe, complaints, which I think we should know about, and employee personnel files, which I agree. The problem is that the Deputy Attorney General, Janet Kleinfelter, her group, when you all brought the original HB 2020, said absolutely not, you're gonna let everything under the sun go by, and they made you guys go back to the drawing board, and still at that, it still includes information that the general public deserves to have access to. The issue now is that if we request it with the Freedom of Information Act, then they determine whether or not we get to have it, but it's still not transparent, which is what the COPA originally intended.
I understand. Right, so what happens is that information, though, is still being submitted to the state, still being submitted to the Attorney General's office, and we can debate, and I don't want to get into a running debate on this, but, you know, as far as recruiting doctors, let's say, for instance, I mean, you know, and that's kind of the whole thought process was, you know, and this is just a piece of that, so I don't want to, because again, we could get into a long debate on this, but as far as, you know, how much a physician is being paid, and to say, well, there's no competition. Well, there's really, you know, you still got physicians that are trying to be hired from other hospital associations, from other groups. So, you know, some of that information I understood why it should be kept proprietary, but I also understood that the COPA said, well, it should be submitted still. And so that's why at the end, and again, the Tennessee Coalition for Open Government was part of the ones that helped the attorney, along with the Attorney General's office. And I'm not sure which attorney, I'm not sure it may have been.
I talked to Janet.
Okay,
Yeah.
So they sat down and wrote this, and before I was going to approve this and pass this, they said, all the parties involved said, we're good with that. We're good with that. And I'll be honest, I don't know if any, when it got on the House floor, I don't know if there was any nay votes. But I'll say this, we'll go back, and I'm listen, if it's something that we need to get right, by all means, we'll go back and take a look at it. But there was no nay votes on that, and very little discussion. So you see, I hope you see where I was coming from was the Attorney General's, he approved it. It was written by his office, by the Tennessee Coalition for Open Government. So I hope you see there was there's trying to be total transparency there. But I certainly, if that's something that we need to go back and take a look at, like you said, it's a living and breathing document. So, All right, so my concerns, and I guess that's why you asked me to speak, Commissioner Thacker, and I kind of got off base. My concern, and I was asked this back when we had the Public Safety Committee meeting, is to stand up and say a word. And what I said then was, and what I still say today is, my main worry is access to care for Hawkins and Hancock County. That's my number one priority as folks that I represent. And I still have not saw how that is going to be implemented, because the way I check it, and just Jerry said it very plainly back there, the last time I checked, Johnson City is further from Kingsport. And so that will continue to be a very big concern that I have, is access to care. That's what I am concerned about. And again, I appreciate, and I don't want to stay, I know I went over my 3 minutes and probably said more than what you expected me to, but I can assure you, I want to hear from you. I want to know what your thoughts, and I appreciate Dr. Spivey so well. He's, you know, I'll tell you, when I first got involved in this and speaking about, you know, who we need to speak with, and someone mentioned Dr. Spivey, and I'll be doggone if he didn't show up on the scene one night in a meeting, so I sat through and listened to it. So it's good to hear from those folks. But, you know, I want to hear from you. I want to know what you think. As it's already been said, the NICU, I think there's a lot of other information. I looked at a letter that was written, I think you said on December 13th by the Commissioner. And so, you know, there's more information that the Commissioner is wanting. It's the application is still incomplete. The 90 days, they have 90 days once they officially accept that application. And the Commissioner said we're not even starting the 90 days yet. And so that's kind of where that's at right now. So again, your voices are being heard. And so, and I certainly am one of those that am listening to what you've got to say, and I encourage you to continue to do so, and I'll answer any questions, maybe off the record. I don't want you to be here all night. I'll answer any question you may have. I'll be here until the last one leaves if I have to. But I just appreciate each and every one of you being here. I appreciate the commissioners for giving certainly me the opportunity to speak and to give my 2 cents worth. But I appreciate it. Thank you all very much.
Seeing no further comment, Mr. Chairman, if you'd like to call this meeting adjourned, we'll move downstairs.
We will reconvene downstairs in about 10 minutes.
Okay, yeah, they got to go downstairs to vote because that's where the voting machine is and everything. And so I'm just going to keep it rolling, and I will see you all down there. Back way. I used to take this way all the time. And this was Circuit Court. Go ahead. Go ahead, I'll follow behind you guys. Can't do nothing until you all get there, so might as well let you go. Now this is, I haven't been back here very much since every mile, really. I used to come back here all the time when it was Circuit Court. What are you doing?
Clean me up, make me look good, buddy.
You're live right now.
Yeah.
You got anything you want to say, live stream? I mean, locked out? Nope, okay. Oh, come on in. All right. Go ahead and take our spot. Okay, if you're hanging with me here, they just adjourned the public hearing and we're back down in the board meeting room. They need to come back down here because this is where the voting system is when they vote on the resolutions. So they're going to reconvene here in about 10 minutes. I'll just stay live, so go to the bathroom or get a drink of water, whatever you got to do, and we'll stay live here. There's 3 resolutions that have been presented expressing the county commission's displeasure for the changes that Ballad has announced, the reduction of the trauma center from a level 1 to a level 3, the closure of the NICU, and the cancer center closure in Allandale. Yeah, we might be here till tomorrow.
Yeah.
All I know is I've been live streaming since the meeting started at 6, and I get 4 hours, and it cuts you off. Oh yeah. That's when I figured that out. I didn't know that's how it works. So I just started doing the raises individually. Oh, that's when my battery was you were trying to save it. Yeah. If I had, I was thinking myself, let's see how long hobby stock race, which is 5 cars. I haven't filmed that. And this thing, I had one of these things, which is a charger. When it stopped working, the connection right here wouldn't go through. So now it's working. So juice is not a problem. Facebook only gives you 4 hours. Yeah, so if I exceed 4 hours, it'll just... Yeah, I have to weed out people. It's not something I need to know.
I've never used it, but I have.
I'm not going out, coming in. Oh, coming in, yeah. Yeah, you can, I put these on YouTube, Facebook and YouTube, and then you can, if you have YouTube on your phone, you can watch the whole video.
I should have come back and
Go to, look at Times News Online on YouTube, and then you want to follow it on the phone. When it comes up, but if you click Lewis,
Jared, my son just called me. He said, just help Jeff and he's doing a good job. He said, I'm watching it. I said, I'm going to watch it.
Oh, yeah, they're at 36 now.
He said, make sure he does the rest of it.
Yeah, they're 20 went to the bathroom, so they'll be back in a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, that's not part of my mandatory requirement. I just do it because I'm here and I can do it if people like it. And it helps, Facebook determines who they send stuff to by how much traffic is on your page. So if I Facebook traffic, that's really the only advantage. It's not a monetary arrangement. Yeah, go fund me. Yeah. Oh, the phone company. Doing all right. I never even had a car that was 30 years old. Hey. Yeah, Lord mercy. The next one upgrade from this one, I don't even want to think about it. It's like, you know, it's like $1,500 a piece.
Okay, Hawkins County Commission meeting is reconvened now. Alright, we're gonna go straight into the resolution. Resolution 2018-1207, introduced by Commissioner Gibson.
Mr. Chairman, before I get started, after I do get it read, and if it does get on the floor, I do have an amendment I want to make to this on some of the wording. So, like I said, after it gets on the floor, I will make a motion that I be allowed to amend that.
That will be fine.
To the Honorable Monica Rell, Chairman of the members of the Hawkins County Board of Commission in regular session, met the 17th day of December 2018. The resolution in reference expressed opposition to the downgrading of the trauma centers of Holston Valley and Bristol Regional Hospital. Whereas Ballad Health announced that the trauma center at Holston Valley Hospital will be downgraded from level 1 to level 3 trauma center. And whereas Ballad Health announced that the trauma center at the Bristol Regional Hospital will be downgraded from level 2 to level 3 trauma center. Whereas Hawkins County has an industrial park with many manufacturing facilities located in it and hosting the fence and explosive manufacturing plant located in the eastern portion of Hawkins County and within the city limits of Kingsport. If a catastrophic event should occur at any of these manufacturing facilities, many lives would be in jeopardy due to the additional transport time to get the severely injured to a level 1 trauma center. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of County Commissioners of Hawkins County, Tennessee, assembled in regular session, hereby authorize the county clerk to notify Ballad Health and any and all oversight committees in the Board of Ballad Health, the state of Tennessee, and the state of Virginia that Hawkins County opposes the downgrade of Holston Valley Trauma Center to a level 1 to a level 3, and the Bristol Regional from level 2 to a level 3 trauma center. Furthermore, that Hawkins County opposes the change of any trauma center in Sullivan County. This resolution shall take effect upon and after its passage. All resolutions in conflict herewith shall be the same and are hereby rescinded insofar as much as conflicts exist. Mr. Chairman, I so move.
Motion on the floor by Commissioner Gibson. Do I have a second? Second by Commissioner Alvis. Any discussion? Commissioner Gibson?
Now I would like to introduce the amendment, and it's what it's going to replace the paragraph that's there. Now therefore it be resolved that Hawkins County opposes the downgrade of the Holston Valley Trauma Center and the Bristol Regional to level 3 trauma center, as it would be a severe public disadvantage to the people of our community, negatively impacting overall population health. We further request that the Ballad Health stop all planning and implementation of changes to its healthcare system until the department holds a public hearing where the details of these plans are made available to the public and the public concerns are heard and addressed. So I so move on this.
I'll second that.
We got a motion by Commissioner Gibson, a second by Commissioner Alvis. Commissioner Alvis.
We'll have to do that by voice vote, and we don't know how this machine's gonna accept it, since the same motion was made by the same person who made the original resolution. So we'll have to do it by voice vote.
Okay, we're gonna vote on the amendment that Commissioner Gibson has made. Yes will be for the amendment, no will be against the amendment. And we're gonna do it by voice.
Commissioner Bob Eads,
Yes.
Linda Davis,
Yes.
Raymond Jesse,
Yes.
George Bridwell,
Yes.
Mark DeWitt,
Yes.
Donnie Talley,
Yes.
Danny Alvis,
Yes.
Sybil Trent,
Yes.
Keith Gibson,
Yes.
Tom Kern,
Yes.
Rick Brewer,
Yes.
Michael Harrell,
Yes.
Dawson Fields,
Yes.
Charles Housewright,
Yes.
Hannah Speaks,
Yes.
Larry Quantz,
Yes.
Nancy Barker,
Yes.
Valerie Goins,
Yes.
John Metz,
Yes.
Jeff Barrett,
Yes.
Charles Stacker.
Yes.
21 yes. Not the resolution. We were voting on the amendment, not the resolution.
That's all right.
Okay, we're gonna vote on the resolution as amended. Any discussion? Commissioner Talley.
I understand that, Mr. Metz met with them last week at Allandale. I'd like to know what the meeting was about.
Well, I'll be happy to answer that. I received a meeting notice Monday, December the 10th. I received it, Gary Merle received it, Jason Merle received it. The topic was Hawkins County EMA meeting with Ballad Health. Yes, I did attend that meeting as chairman of Public Safety Committee. I think it's imperative for me to attend any meeting that I need to attend on behalf of Hawkins County. Now I have heard rumor, which I can give you all kinds of rumors and things that were actually had been said about me, but this is not about me. I was told that there were 4 commissioners invited to this meeting and they chose not to attend for fear of sunshine law violation. That is false, unless there is another commissioner here who can attest that they received this meeting invite, then that is false information. So if another commissioner received such, I would like to hear that, because I hold my reputation and my integrity. That's all I've got. That's the most important thing that I've got. And if somebody desires to attack me, then I'm going to return the favor. So by no means did I attend anything that I should not have attended. There was the discussion, and if the commission desires, I'll go ahead and speak on that. Any objection? Okay. The topic was what the fallout effect will be on Hawkins County in regards to what it does to EMS service. To me, as the chair of the Public Safety Committee, that's my primary concern. Me personally, the location of a level 1 trauma is not that imperative to me, because if you require level 1 trauma care, you're not going to be driving. You're not going to be able to drive your family member or whoever else that might be to there. So we have to ensure that we have access to a EMS service that can actually get you wherever you need to be. If you can't get there, it doesn't matter if it's Kingsport, Johnson City, Chattanooga, Knoxville, Memphis, wherever. That's irrelevant. So that's where my concern is. That's where the EMA director's concern is. Mr. Merle, the county mayor, we've had numerous conversations about this, because I'll be honest, it scares me to death. And in the prior years, we had issues with lifeguard coming in, with financial stability at Churchill, with Hawkins County, and we really were hard on them. I'll be the first to say that. And Bob Palmer and myself took an extensive, tremendous amount of heat over that. But I can tell you today, if you don't have a reason to improve what you have to offer as any business, you're going to falter and you're going to die. Hawkins County EMS rose to the occasion. Their entity is much stronger today than it was when we first started out in that. So I have to commend the board of directors and the leadership of Hawkins County EMS with what they've done. However, there's still much work to be done. When you're dealing with a hospital that's a little further out, it's probably not going to be as big of a deal to District 1, District 2, District 3. Something bad happens, they go to level 0. Level 0 means there's no units in Hawkins County. 0 units in Hawkins County. That happens everywhere in the United States. You can't have an ambulance for every single person. It's just not logical or feasible. Well, District 1, 2, 3, the majority of that, Sullivan County can come down and get you. The further it gets interior to Hawkins County in Rogersville, where we're sitting right now, you go to level 0, what are your options? You're in trouble. That's the kind of stuff that causes me to lay awake at night and worry about this particular issue. So for me to meet with Ballad Health and try and gain information and see, is there any possible common ground to our EMS issue, we want to know about it. And I can say the county mayor is going to be very entrenched in that topic. And I said the first time we had a public safety committee meeting, this is the first of many meetings to come. And I said it last month as well. This is not something that just because these resolutions pass, that we're hands off. Ballad made a commitment that they would do whatever they could to assist us. And, you know, regardless of what anybody says and, you know, however you want to run Ballad down, I will have to say that the individuals in that meeting that represented Ballad were very open to discussion. Can you attest to that, Mr. Jason Merle, Mr. Gary? They heard our concerns. They wanted to discuss those concerns. They made some action in that meeting that was helpful to Hawkins County EMS. That's what it's all about. If you shut people out and you're just gonna say, we're not gonna discuss this, where are we gonna get? All right, and I've had commissioners from Sullivan County call me and say, I hope you're on board with us. Well, I'm on board with the people I represent, first and foremost, regardless of what that may be. So, yes, that meeting did occur, and it certainly was not a secret meeting by no means, but we did meet. And hopefully there will be many other meetings to come, and the mayor or myself or the chairman will update as needed. You know, there's just some things that you can't call public meeting for every time it arises. But to say that there was any other commissioners in that meeting, no, there was not.
Any more discussion?
My buttons aren't working.
Commissioner Speaks?
Sorry. I do just wanna say one thing, and I said this in the last meeting, I'm gonna say it again, just because I want to make sure, that the public here tonight understands that whether we pass these resolutions or whether we do not, it does not stop Ballad. That I want you to understand that we are taking on a giant. And you have to understand that when we take on a giant, we have to have the stones and the slingshot. So I want you to understand that tonight, whether this passes or not, it does not stop Ballad. This is a process, so be patient with us.
Any more discussion? Commissioner Alves?
Call for questions.
Oh. Question has been called. We're voting on the resolution as amended. Cast your vote. Resolution 2018-1208, introduced by Commissioner Gibson.
Mr. Chairman, as the previous one, I will be amending this once we get it on the floor. To the Honorable Mark Harrell, Chairman and member of the Hawkins County Board of Commission in regular session, met this 17th day of December 2018. Resolution in reference to express concern about closing of the NICU at Holston Valley. Whereas Ballad Health announced that they will be closing the NICU at the Holston Valley Hospital, and whereas there are several OBGYN physicians in Kingsport and Sullivan County that Hawkins County female residents are patients of. Their babies are born in hospitals owned by Ballad Health in Sullivan County. Closing the NICU in Holston Valley Hospital and having to transport a newborn could mean life or death. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of County Commissioners of Hawkins County, Tennessee, assembled in regular session, hereby authorize the county clerk to notify Ballad Health and any and all oversight committees and boards of Ballad Health, the state of Tennessee and the state of Virginia, that Hawkins County is very concerned about the closure of the Holston Valley NICU. This resolution shall take effect from and after its passage. All resolutions in conflict herewith shall be, and the same are hereby rescinded insofar as such conflicts exist. Mr. Chairman, I so move.
Motion by Commissioner Gibson. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Brewer. Any discussion? Commissioner Gibson?
Thank you.
Commissioner Gibson?
Are you ready for me now?
Yes.
Okay. I would move to amend the paragraph I'm about to read. And it says, therefore it be resolved that the Board of County Commissioners of Hawkins County, Tennessee, assembled in regular session, hereby authorizes the county clerk to notify Ballad Health and any and all oversight committees and boards of Ballad Health, the state of Tennessee, and the Commonwealth of Virginia, that Hawkins County opposes the closing of the Holston Valley NICU or downgrading of its services to a level 1 facility, as it would be a severe public disadvantage to the babies and the mothers of our community, negatively impacting overall population health. We further request that Ballad Health stop all planning and implementation of changes to its healthcare system until the department holds a public hearing where the details of these plans are made available to the public and the public concerns are heard and addressed. And I so move.
Motion by amendment by Commissioner Gibson.
Second.
Second by Commissioner DeWitt. We're gonna do roll call again.
Commissioner Tom Kern,
Yes.
Larry Clontz,
Yes.
Danny Alves.
Yes.
Hannah Speaks.
Yes.
Keith Gibson,
Yes.
Dawson Fields,
Yes.
Sybil Trent. Yes. John Metz,
Yes.
Nancy Barker. Yes. Charles Housewright,
Yes.
George Bridwell,
Yes.
Linda Davis.
Yes.
Mark DeWitt,
Yes.
Rick Brewer,
Yes.
Raymond Jesse,
Yes.
Michael Burrell,
Yes.
Donnie Talley,
Yes.
Valerie Goins.
Yes.
Charles Thacker,
Yes.
Bob Edens,
Yes.
Jeff Barrett.
Yes.
21 yes.
Okay, we're gonna go back to the resolution as amended. Any discussion? Commissioner Gibson?
I'd just like to add, I'm also another, I have a granddaughter that spent the first 3 weeks in NICU, so very much opposed to this. In fact, she's getting out about this time last year. She just turned a year old.
Any more discussion? Cast your vote. Resolution 2018-1209, introduced by Commissioner Barrett.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And like Mr. Gibson on the previous 2 resolutions, after I read this, I would like to amend the resolution. To the Honorable Michael Burrell, Chairman and members of the Hawkins County Board of Commissioners, in regular session met this 17th day of December 2018, resolution and reference expressed concern about decisions in downgrading care at medical facilities in Sullivan County. Whereas Ballad Health has announced that the NICU unit at Holston Valley Hospital would be closing and move to Johnson City, and that the level 1 trauma center at Holston Valley Hospital will be downgraded to a level 3, and the level 2 trauma center at Bristol Regional Hospital will be downgraded to a level 3. The closest level 1 trauma center would be in Johnson City, some 60+ miles from Hawkins County, and whereas a large number of Hawkins County residents are employed at the many manufacturing facilities in Hawkins County and the city of Kingsport that would be affected if a catastrophic event occurred at any of the manufacturing facilities, and whereas many newborns of Hawkins County families are born in the hospitals in Sullivan County, closing the NICU at Holston Valley Hospital to mean life or death of newborns. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of County Commissioners of Hawkins County, Tennessee, assemble a regular session hereby authorizes the county clerk to notify Ballad Health and any and all oversight committees and boards of Ballad Health, the state of Tennessee and the state of Virginia, that Hawkins County is very concerned about the closure and downgrading of medical facilities in Sullivan County, and hereby request that Hawkins County be involved in these decisions henceforth. This resolution shall take effect from and after its passage. All resolutions in conflict herewith shall be, and the same are hereby rescinded insomuch so far as such conflict exists. Mr. Chairman, I so move.
Motion by Commissioner Barrett, second by
Second.
Commissioner Kearns. Any discussion, Commissioner Barrett?
Yes, at this time, I would like to make a motion to amend that motion to include the following paragraph. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of County Commissioners of Hawkins County, Tennessee, assembled in regular session hereby authorizes the county clerk to notify Ballad Health and any and all oversight committees and boards of Ballad Health, the state of Tennessee and the Commonwealth of Virginia, that Hawkins County opposes the closing of the Holston Valley NICU or downgrading of the services to a level 1 facility, as it would be a severe public disadvantage to the babies and mothers of our community, negatively impacting overall population health. We further request that Ballad Health stop all planning and implementation of changes to its healthcare system until the department holds a public hearing where the details of these plans are made available to the public and the public concerns are heard and addressed. Thank you.
Amendment by Commissioner Barrett, second.
Second.
Second by Commissioner DeWitt. Any discussion? We're gonna do roll call.
We can do it on the machine.
All right, cast your vote.
We'll do that.
For the amendment. Commissioner Barrett. And Commissioner Clark.
21 yes.
Commissioner Barrett, can you give,
Copy that to her.
copy of Nancy? Okay, we're gonna vote on the resolution as amended. Any discussion? Questions been called? Well, Commissioner Gibson.
My question is about, it was mentioned up about the cancer center up here at Allandale. We have failed to mention that at any time. And I do know, I have a sister-in-law that had to go up there, and, you know, the added cost, just by getting it up there, it's gonna be catastrophic to her. Are there any place that we can put that in this amendment about the cancer center? About, you know, it's going to be moved from Hawkins County. I think originally, in fact, my nephew's wife used to work at Holston Valley in the emergency room for several years, and when talking with her, and she had said that one of the main reasons they put it in Hawkins County was due to the fact that what's in Hawkins County, that they've got a lot lower rate on the chemical, on the drugs and everything. And so if you take it to the hospital, it's naturally going to increase the price, astronomical, I would say. So are there any place we can put it on this?
Mr. Gibson, I would be honored to include that in my amendment. Yes, be more than happy to do that.
Can we wait the next month and do its own resolution for that?
It's gonna open January 21st, it's gonna open. Yeah, it's just gonna open.
You can go ahead, I mean.
I just.
Go ahead and do it.
I just want to say we need to go ahead and do it because I'm a cancer survivor and I got a call a couple of days ago and they said that my appointment for the 22nd had been changed for the 1st of February. They just said that my doctor wasn't going to be in that day. So I'm thinking they must be gonna move. I think we need to do it as quickly as possible.
Commissioner Byrd, can you read that amendment to this resolution?
Mr.
Yes,
Chairman.
I would like to include that we oppose the moving of the cancer treatment center that's located at Allandale. We oppose that movement, and we would like for it to stay where it is. I think that should take care of it. I think. Okay.
I second that.
Commissioner Byrd, I'm gonna go ahead and let you speak.
I'd like to state I'm also a cancer survivor. And I think that this is important enough that it needs its own resolution. And I don't know why we can't do an out of order resolution to make this more pertinent to everything. And because if we do this amendment, it's just gonna get lost in the lines. And when it's topics about the cancer, I think that we need to do an out of order resolution. You can do that. I don't think it'd be no problem, be wrote up just like the rest of these resolutions. And that's my opinion, and I'd like to, once we, if that's okay with Commissioner Gibson and Commissioner Barrett, that, once we vote on this, I'd like to suspend the rules and do an out of order resolution.
Do you mean a resolution out of order right now, correct?
Tonight.
Tonight. I do not oppose that, because like you, I'm also a cancer survivor.
Commissioner Byrd, you'll have to withdraw your amendment, on the second amendment.
Okay, I'll be more than happy to withdraw the second portion of my amendment because I am also a cancer survivor, so more than happy. Glad you're doing it, Rick, appreciate it.
So, we're back to the resolution as first amended. Any more discussion? If not, cast your vote. Voting on the resolution as amended now. First amendment. Commissioner Brewer?
Yes.
We're gonna recess.
Mr. Chairman, I think you could just copy one of these other resolutions basically as amended, and, just insert in there opposing the closure of the cancer treatment.
Well, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna recess for 5 minutes, let you get with Nancy.
Okay.
And you and her decide which one you wanna use, and then we will reconvene in 5 minutes.
Okay, for those of you watching at home, I want to let you know that when I share this and when it's finalized and posted and everything, I started this video at the beginning of the county commission meeting, and they've had other business for about an hour. So if you want to watch the public hearing from the beginning, you'll have to skip forward about an hour. You'll notice when they're up in the upstairs courtroom, the bigger courtroom, so the venue will change from what it is now. That's how you know you're at the public hearing. So once this meeting's over and I save this meeting, and you can go back and get out of here. You can go back here. You can go back and watch the public hearing from the beginning if you haven't had a chance to see it. The deadly tsetse fly. If we need a food concessions. Yeah. Looks like we're losing quite a bit of our crowd, but that's all right. Oh well, maybe next time. Budget committee meeting or something like that. Something where I got like 8 viewers instead of 150 viewers. Okay, it looks like they're getting ready to come back. If you didn't catch what I said a minute ago, when I stop this video and share it, you'll be able to watch the public hearing from the beginning. But I started this video at the beginning of the county commission meeting, and there was about an hour of other business. So you'll want to fast forward about an hour, and then you can watch the public hearing from the beginning. You'll notice the venue, it changes. It'll be in the upstairs courtroom instead of down here. So that's how you'll know you're at the public hearing. But that should happen here in just a few minutes. I'll go ahead and save this once they're done. This is my watch too. We've got about 45 minutes.
No,
If you're holding to see what's going to happen, they're out drafting the out of order resolution asking Ballad to not move the cancer center in Allandale.
We got the resolutions in.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to suspend the rules.
Second. Second by Commissioner Field. Any discussion?
Okay. Let's just do it.
We're gonna do a voice vote.
All in favor?
All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Rules suspended.
Okay. The out of order resolution will read, whereas Ballad Health announced that they wish to move the Oncology Cancer Treatment Center from the Allandale location, that Hawkins County Board of Commission opposes the move of the Oncology Cancer Treatment Center from Allandale location, and we wish it to remain in Hawkins County, as it would be a severe public disadvantage to the people of our community, negatively impacting overall population health. We further request that Ballad Health stop all planning and implementation of changes to its healthcare system until the department holds a public hearing where the details of these plans are made available to the public and the public concerns are heard and addressed.
Mr. Chairman, I so move.
Motion by Brewer, second by Commissioner Jones. Jesse, okay, Commissioner Jesse, he's done it on the machine. Even though we can't see the machine, he's done it. Okay. Any discussion? If not, cast your vote.
Yes.
Okay, motion passed. We're gonna adjourn by voice.
Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead.
one question. All these resolutions we have passed tonight, and hopefully minutes from the meeting, open meeting and upstairs, is that gonna be forwarded to the people that need it, like in Nashville and other places?
We will not do minutes from public upstairs unless we have to.
Okay, well, that's not.
We've got a recording of it if somebody needs it.
But the right people in Nashville will get copies and everything, right?
Somebody will provide to me who they need to be sent to, be happy to.
Yeah.
We'll send them all certified copies.
Representative Hicks, take care of that.
Okay, if nothing else, need a motion to adjourn.
You want to say anything?
All in favor, say aye. All opposed?
Oh yeah, always. How you doing?
Doing fine, man.
You ready to join the county commission again? Very glad to be off. Oh, see you later. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and sign off. I just wanted to let everybody know. Oh boy, there's our man behind the scenes, the puppet master. I'm gonna go ahead and sign off. Just let everybody know that if you want to watch the public hearing from the beginning, you can come back and watch this video on Facebook. I had started this video at the beginning of the county commission meeting, and they did about an hour's worth of business not related to the ballad. So fast forward about an hour, and you can watch the public hearing. So I'm going to go ahead and sign off.